Hi, guys. Hi, Johnny. Johnny, you suck. I literally cannot see in this thing. Hi, Sai. Hi.
Johnny, you son of a bitch!
Hi, Miss Lux.
Oh, it's bad.
Johnny, screw you for making me hydrate.
How do people eat this?
In order to hydrate, I have to do a whole lot. Hang on. Hi, guys. Let me get that mouse off of there. This is like the best I could rig this camera to. I already got the cursor. Yeah, so this is my no-face cosplay.
Oh!
Hi, Lux. Welcome in. Yeah.
Yo, come on, man.
This is even complete with like Tabi socks, which you can't really see
Man.
because I can't lift my leg that high for you guys to see them. I guess I could just do this for a moment. Tabi sock. Got raise it still. I was trying to find a real balance of show most of the mask and be able to show my face. Hey, Billy. Hey, Snick. Hey, guy. Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? We do have Meccha Chameleon going. From 6 to 8, it's just going to be us. Speaking of, I should probably hop into Discord. I know Mike is probably a little rough just because it's a little further away. But this is as close as I can make it. Hi, sweetheart.
Oh my god, that looks crazy.
Alright, so I'm gonna be in my Discord just in the general. Hi, babe. How are the kittens? Thank you. This was fun to get on by myself.
Did you wash your hands, right? Did you wash your hands?
Yeah, this is normally not something I get on by myself. But yeah, I got this up by myself today. This is also thank you for the GGs. One second, they can't hear you. I gotta fix that yet. Hang on. Desktop. Yes, I'm gonna be playing Meccha Chameleon.
To wash my hands a lot.
What?
Love to wash my hands a lot.
Just wash your hands. You know how to wash your hands, please. And then you can eat. Wash them completely, soap and water, dry them. You know how to do it.
There we go. Alright, now they should be able to hear you.
I'm sorry.
For everybody. But yeah, we're gonna be wearing this until the raid train comes. Don't know how much longer after that. But I used to wear this for cons. So anyone who wants to join, let me know. The room is DGS for Dream Girl Summer. Password is UB. For Unwell Beauty. If you want to join the voice chat, we're just in my Discord. Yeah. So it's our community from 6 to 8. At 8, I will be joining Hello Kayla. And a bunch of other streamers from the raid train.
You said DGS?
Yes. Dream Girl Summer.
Right. Is it all capital or lowercase?
All capital. So is UB.
Got it.
I can hear you in game too, I think. Oh god, we have Johnny.
And now it's time for words
sorry.
of wisdom with Mellow.
Johnny's voice is much louder than me. Okay, let me fix that.
I forget how to play.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
This is wild. But,
Did you see
Yes.
they added a plump body shape? I was like, what the heck?
I was just looking at this one. I'm just concerned why my head is up my butt.
I like this one. Hello, Mr. You. You. Welcome in. Hello, madams. We got Miss Lux. Hold still. Oh. Oh, I was gonna join you. Oh my god, I don't even know if I can play in these gloves. This is gonna be wild. Yeah, we have gloves, we have poppy socks, we have a backpack made out of PVC pipes.
I thought you were gonna have the mask down the whole time.
The mask, well, I
Oh, that's
can't.
true. The mask is above. You'd have to have
Yeah.
the cloak or whatever, right?
Yeah. It's not like an actual mask, because he's
Yeah, I
taller
forgot it's
than
above
me.
your head.
Yeah. We're just gonna do random maps. What? Oh, never mind. Just have to wait. Random map.
Okay, that was an accident that I just made that, and I don't know how I feel. Do not turn around and look.
I'm gonna turn around and look.
I just walked away. 'Cause-
What do we want for paint time? Like 2 minutes?
Yeah, 2 minutes can work. At least for starters, we'll see if we can go from there if you want.
Yeah.
Ton Québec, c'est tabarnak.
Hello, welcome in. No worries, Lux. Oh god. I forgot how warm this thing is too. We're gonna do basic for now because it's just what, 3 of us.
Yeah.
Johnny, what in the back
That
rooms
one?
BS is? Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying. That one was the accident, and then I was like, going with this. I'm like, you know what? Hold on, wait.
Johnny, my kids can see the screen. All right.
My bad.
Are we all ready, or Lux, do you need more time?
Oh my god.
Wait. There's a. Was that always
What?
there?
Yeah, that was always
Okay.
there.
I'm just not observant. It's fine. These clubs.
Where is?
These
Where's
clubs,
the
man.
plump one?
No, the plump is a body type,
Oh, okay. I got you.
which I think I could see that being great. I can't use my phone.
But she has like a balloon.
Can't use my phone. What? Lux is washing her face. Okay, we'll wait. If there's anyone else who wants to join, let me know. I will restate the password in the room. For now, I'll just sway in my big moo. This guy was fun to make, though. I will say that. This is actually the
Oh,
second cosplay I made.
I got an idea. Oh,
What?
okay. I'm gonna text you something too. Got good news.
Good. I can't check it right now because gloves, but good.
Oh, I'll just tell you that too. So D got writer positioned.
Yay, D! Yay, my life!
So yeah, so she'll be on set days off. 3 days, 2 days, 1 week, 3 days, another week, with set days off, and she'll be working only 7 or like 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. or something like that. So she'll be sleeping in later. She'll have like she won't have to like it won't be as long her hours. And stuff.
That's good.
Yeah, so she's.
And I know
kind of
she liked
excited.
the night shift better.
Yeah, she was actually going permanent night shift regardless. She
Good.
decided on.
Good, good, good. Why don't I hear the game?
I'm gonna text Stunt also real quick.
Okay. Maybe it's just me. Oh, I know why I don't hear the game. Because of how I have the sound. Anytime I have... Because of how I have the sound running for Discord to my headset and also to OBS, it quiets everything else except for Discord. It's so wild.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. But I don't know what it is that's doing it to change it. Arella? Did I hear a video?
You did. That was a Miss Lux.
Hey, yo, Miss Lux. How's your face?
Oh, so much better now that I'm
What?
I don't know for some
I
reason.
didn't freaking know. Apparently, it makes my face stink. So that's good to know. What?
So, no whipped cream masks for you.
Yeah!
All right. Are we ready for round 1?
Maybe. How do I get out of this? Is there... No,
So
there's a
I'm just
turn to
hearing.
title.
Oh, I didn't want to fall off that.
Hmm?
French fries and coffee.
Oh, yeah, thank you. John just chasing There's a whirlipede in chat. Catch that Pokemon as part of the event.
For me, it's the fact that Lux is always like your face or whatnot too, and then she joins in. She's like, "How's your face?" They were like, "How's your face?" And I'm like, "Oh."
She hide herself.
4 times!
Yeah.
I mean,
I still want to say, well,
I'm gonna do the plump
let
one.
me.
bad.
Oh,
Honestly,
I did the
I'm
bigger plump
impressed
one.
I
I
did
shouldn't
not
have done
make
the
more of
bigger
a mess.
plump one.
I did choose a plump one, of course.
I chose the medium plump one, and I'm like, oh, I should have chose the little plump one. Oh, this is a new
Wait,
map.
I did not choose a plump one.
Don't worry, I'm a hunter.
I feel like I shouldn't have chosen a plump one on this map. I feel like I haven't been on this map.
So since I'm hunter, that means that Phoenix can't sit there and be like, "Oh, shoot Johnny," like normal.
I mean, we still could.
That's true.
I'm too busy running around looking at all the Egyptian stuff.
Now I'm curious what map this is.
And if you use what bunny
Diablo, no. Jinx down. Jinx down. If you find me, you didn't find me. I'm dealing with a cat.
Phoenix says they can't really hear anybody. Whoa, this is a new map. Okay.
Okay. I will deal with it in a second.
Oh, this is a cool map. Oh, there's so much hiding in here. Holy crap. Did you put force whistle in a...
No, I didn't see that option.
Okay. What the hell? Random roll of toilet paper next to the mummy.
Sure, that's toilet paper?
I was gonna say, like, okay, it's not a person. I'm like, that would be really good. I wanna, like, I wanna see everything. I don't wanna, oh, man.
Jinx, did you just figure out how to open the door? You don't even have thumbs. How did you do that?
Oh my god, you two are gonna win. Easily.
Johnny and Lux, can you talk?
Talk.
Okay.
Oh. Oh, so that's Lux messing with me then. Okay.
What? Me mess with you? Never.
Oh.
Hi.
Really? I was like, really? Walked right past you, too.
Oh, you walked right past me too, so.
Did I
Yeah.
really? What the heck?
Oh, yeah.
Like, hers was obvious, though. Like, she was just like a big like, totally different color than the sand.
Also, y'all, if you hear the
Oh.
TV, I'm literally right by it because that's the only place I
Like, oddly enough, we don't hear the TV now. We hear it more usually when you're like, you have the camera all the way back.
can. Really?
Yeah.
Well, you're probably listening through Discord, which Discord already has the noise cancellation.
Oh. Never mind this.
You know, on the plus side, now I can.
Oh. Beauty whistle.
My.
Because. Oh. Okay. We're in this room.
I'm somewhere.
Oh, what? Wait, what?
I haven't moved the entire time, I will say that.
Hilarious.
I'm watching the clip.
Hi, Stunty!
Oh no, you did not do what I think you did.
No. This
I
is
can't
the
get up there.
Egyptian map, I think.
Oh, 2 of them.
I'm not up there.
Oh my god. Same color as Lux too.
Yeah. We literally did the same thing.
Oh.
I was gonna be a beetle, but then I didn't have time to be a beetle.
And Johnny, do you feel silly?
Sorry.
Hi, Sandy. How you doing? You wanna play? We already got Johnny going crazy.
Doesn't
He
take
likes-
much.
Ow!
Yeah, where's
Well, at least I went through the whole entire stream without you stabbing me, you jackwagon.
Yeah. Oh, wait, there's forced. Oh, okay.
What?
Force whistle.
Yeah, they call it forced taunt.
Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta join? It is capital DGS, all capital, and then UB, all capital. Because I decided it'd be difficult. Johnny decided to be a turd. Yeah, I can't see anything with the thing down. So we're gonna do this for a
That's
while.
priceless.
I did manage to switch scenes with it down, and then I realized I can't read chat. We're just in my Discord in the general. In general.
Diablo.
Nothing fancy.
You are doing.
I must have washed these too because these used to be covered in caramel because I used to hand out Rolos.
I'm glad you washed it. Didn't leave it like that for 10 years with caramel on it. Well, caramel.
Caramel.
Not caramel. Like I say, like I realize that that's one of my things too. Is like words that I normally say one way, when other people say it, I'm like, I just like instantly correct myself to say like it said. But then I realize that's not how I say it though.
Hey Johnny, spell nauseous.
N-A-shus.
Spell segue. As in segue from.
S-E-G-U-E.
No, no. You did.
S-E-G-U-E, right?
Yep.
Listen, why am I being picked on?
Because I can. Stunty, I have that issue with like all Discords. I can never find the one that I want.
Johnny, can you spell east? It's a real word,
W-
I swear.
Oh. No, it wasn't east though, it was south.
There we go. Finally found it.
There you are.
Hello.
Oh, time to lurk.
What'd you say?
Nothing.
I just got done working out. My brain's not functioning.
We got this done. Johnny's a little car. Boop, boop.
I think this is my first time actually getting to play with you.
I think so. I think you're right.
So, yeah. I have no idea how I used to wear this for an entire con because like I've been wearing it for like an hour and I'm already like I'm done.
Dude, we're going
Oh,
to the
what was
Maryland.
the server name again?
It's all caps DGS. We do siren.
And then, ooh,
And
and then what's the password?
all caps UB.
UB. Okay.
That was good.
So Beauty, so we're going to the Maryland Renaissance Fair in September. I'm like
Fun.
fighting. Like, do I wear the pirate or do I wear Lord Farquaad?
Farquaad.
Check the weather. Well, first, which
That's the
one's...
main thing.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, which one is the cooler option, like temperature-wise, cooler option?
Ooh, probably Farquaad.
Then check the
Because
weather.
the pirate one is like so the jacket itself and the hat is just so hot.
See,
Oh, but the wig.
our Ren Fair has themed weekends, so that's not that I change what I'm wearing anyway, because I have a chainmail bikini top, so I wear that. But we sometimes dress the kids in theme.
Did you see Siren's message?
Yep, I said yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I gotta see because if it's pirate themed, I'll wear that regardless. Then. Wait, why? You did not. Bro, I was like, is my game glitching? Why do I see my name twice?
I
God.
love it. I love it.
I hate it here. I was literally like, I'm like, wait a minute, is my game broken? I see myself rolling up to me. What is going on here?
Siren, we're in my Discord's general chat.
I deserve that. I definitely
This
do.
is beautiful.
Oh my
Do
God.
we still want just the one hunter, or do we want the infection now?
I would say
Either
there's
one.
still one right now for now because
Okay.
we still got. Actually, no, we have more, but. Hello, hello.
Alright. Alright.
So bad you made yourself Johnny Boombutts. I really can't with you.
Hi, Lily. Hello.
Hello.
We
These
got to be
gloves
plump.
are so hard to play in.
Man, I haven't played this in so long.
I love how so much of
Ooh.
us chose plump.
I've just been doing random maps just because it makes life fun.
What is this?
This is the burger map.
Oh, you guys didn't give yourself a lot of time to paint, did you?
I don't know what I'm.
Oh God.
Oh,
I regret
no.
being plump. Just like real life. Oh, my bad.
You were close.
You are close. Thanks, Professor.
Wait, what is emissive?
Light.
Yeah, we might have to up the
The paint time.
Paint time.
paint time, yeah.
It took entirely too long to just get into position. Like, how do I do the buttons again?
Like, somewhere between 3 and 5 minutes is a pretty good sweet spot.
Okay. Because I upped it even from last round.
Then you were in dessert, but yeah, there's some there. Make sure you save some for mom though.
Now I get to explore other spots to hide. Should have went there. Oh, I would have been caught right away if I would have seen where I was originally. Oh, Stunt. Yeah, Stunt Baba had you doing dead list today?
Yeah, he did. And I'm wiped out. I only did 2 sets today too, because I was just worn.
I just noticed you did 6 sets. I was like, Jesus.
No, I did 2 sets because I
Yeah,
just
I was gonna
could
say.
not today.
Oh, wait, who got shot?
Me.
Oh,
Miss. Oh, Lux, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
wait, where were you, Stunt?
Hiding.
Really? Oh. Well, I
Mhm.
literally went to you and I was like, that's me. And then I remembered again.
Yep. I did the same thing, actually.
I'm glad to know that it's not just me. That I'm just like, wait a second.
When I did the
It's Johnny
I
Boombutts.
was like, oh, right.
Oh my god.
Well, since I'm
Huh.
dead,
Did you want
I'm
Minecraft?
mind I can get something to drink.
Yeah, I'm that.
I think I've looked at Johnny, but
No, you
Which
looked at Stunty.
Yeah, which Johnny have you looked at?
Boom butt.
Yeah. And this is why playing with Stunty is dangerous. She's gotten way too good at this game.
Nah.
I already pointed to the one that I am. I'm the Goomba, the kitty Goomba. Because you called me a Goomba, so I had to be a Goomba. Love you.
come on. I know there's a way to get up there.
She do a Goomba cosplay one day.
That would be fun.
If I still had my Tanuki tail, I totally would.
Come on. Oh, I see you.
Get him!
See
Get him!
me?
Get him! Get him! Hi, Spriggies!
I know you're brown. There you are.
Nope.
Dang it.
Are you Goofy Tail? Are you Goofy Tail? Hi. Guys, I think my cat's afraid of me.
I mean, that would track.
Oh, how's the babies?
Good, they had their vet visit. They are officially both boys.
Aw.
One is 12 ounces, one is 13 ounces, I think. I would check, but I can't use my phone. They have another vet visit. I forget what the day is. They are very small beansies.
Aw. They're so ittle. They're so cute.
They are. Oh, I'll have to send you
Did
more
you-
pictures, Stunty. I took pictures today because we gave them a
I
bath.
was gonna say. I was wondering if you showed her the wash ones.
Nice paint job.
Thank you. Johnny, I just saw your character.
Yeah, I was running away everywhere I could. I was just
Oh,
trying to make
beauty,
a
that
full
was
run
good
for it.
too.
At first, I was gonna be like ears on top of the thing, but then I realized all of the other ones didn't have ears, and that just felt silly then.
And you could have been the one solo-eared dino.
That's when you start cloning yourself. Put ears on them
That's
all.
true.
Isn't it though? If one of your clones get shot, you get killed anyway.
Mhm.
Yes.
Oh, this one's kind of fun. Whee!
When I go to every time I go to look at stunt, what are you talking about?
That's a good one too. I'd not seen that one.
Or the questionable one.
On the final page.
I still don't know what they were going for with that one.
I think I know exactly what they were going for that, one.
That's fair.
I don't think there's any question about it.
A car, clearly.
Yeah, a car.
You watch. You put headlights on it.
Right. Are we ready?
Well, that's a secret tunnel.
Yes. Jesus Christ! I am so done with you, stunt.
I'm just gonna keep.
Oh my God, my character! What is it doing? Oh God!
What happened to your character?
Jesus Christ! I don't know what's going on here.
I feel like you got broke.
I definitely.
I'm a
did.
hunter.
Oh, this map. Oh boy.
I'm gonna
This might
try
be a
something.
good one to be plump on. That sounds so wrong.
Oh wait, who's the hunter?
Me.
Oh, never mind. I'm not hiding there. Never mind. I gotta go somewhere else. Yeah, being plump definitely would have helped out for this.
Really hard with these freaking gloves. Oh my God.
It's really good.
I think that's as good as I'm gonna get, unfortunately.
Lux, I don't think you're getting found.
I'm going for a Hail Mary.
Yes, I'm
You don't
getting
think so?
doggo kisses. Yes. Such a good girl. Yes.
Just don't forget, my dog needs to come home tonight.
Yeah, she'll be coming tonight. Yes, she
Okay.
will.
Hey, Renato. Welcome in. How are you?
She's just been hanging out with me. She's been getting the pats and the loves. She got tweets.
Oh, she's getting spoiled, is what I heard.
Yes, she is.
Oh,
She's very
this
spoiled.
map. Oh, goodness gracious. They're terrible being Hunter on this map.
All right, Elmo.
Elmo's World.
La 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 la. Elmo's World. La 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 la. Elmo's World.
Oh, gosh. Well, I've looked at people several times already.
Yep.
My eyes go crisscrossed.
Getting colder.
Ah!
How I've lived this long is wild.
You are very obvious. I'm sorry. I can see you from where I'm at, and I'm just looking at you going, how?
Like
I'm
for real.
intimidated.
Picture perfect.
Like you looked right at me.
Oh, gosh.
Really hard
Let's
standing.
see, I
in
started
line
over
for this, so
here.
just putting that out there.
I'm okay.
What?
Okay.
I don't hear any whistles over here, though.
How do you not hear a whistle right where you're at?
Yes,
I
you
don't know. It
practice
doesn't sound like I am.
Do you have your speakers on or you have it muted?
No, I have my earbuds in. And no, I don't have them backwards.
today.
I don't know. Now I'm just looking for one person. Okay, I'm gonna go look around somewhere else.
I dropped a hint and you didn't even realize.
Oh, I got it. I still couldn't see him if he's right in front of me in there. I'm intimidated. Wait, how do I get back up? I'm stuck. Ah! Oh gosh, too many whistles. I'm panicking.
Hi.
Sorry, Lux.
It's okay.
That was the person
I don't know.
you weren't going to find.
I don't know. I don't know how she hasn't found you, but she found me. I got no clue. Like,
When Beauty finishes painting her thing, like I cannot wait till she sees this. I'm gonna screenshot it actually. You know what?
I'm
Okay,
sending
he
you
has
a
to be
picture in
right here.
Discord.
I thought for sure that I had chosen a good spot.
I thought you did too. I was not expecting you to be the first found. In fact, I wasn't
Connie
expecting
is
you to be found at
right
all.
there here, and
Yeah.
why don't I see him?
You're gonna be so mad when you
I am
find
gonna be
out where
so
I'm at.
mad.
Oh my god, that's glorious. Is it Togetic
me,
in
Stump
chat? Catch
Papa.
that Pokemon?
He's here somewhere.
Are you watching
Okay,
Studio
I
Ghibli
know.
movies? No.
I must be looking right at him, but I don't
Eye
understand.
level.
We are the Studio Ghibli movie.
Eye
Hi, Stump
level.
Papa.
Beauty says hi.
Hi, Beauty.
Hi, Stomp Papa.
Are you gonna pop in and play?
I'm still making dinner.
Oh my gosh.
What's
Wow.
I wasn't looking at the paintings. I was so focused on other things.
I said picture perfect.
The fact that he got
Now
the
I understand it, yeah.
1798 though, like.
Yes, please. Thank you.
This is
Okay, I know
glorious.
someone's over this way. I heard whistles. Where haven't I been?
The library? Or is that library on this one? I can't remember if it's this one.
No, I don't think library's on this one.
Thank you for the 15 stream streak, Renato. I have no idea how you didn't find me there.
Unwell.
I have no idea how you didn't find
How'd
me
you
there.
not get points for that?
I don't know. This is wild. Because that is not a good paint job, because trying to control this standing up and with gloves.
Where were you? Oh, and someone was. Oh, I didn't look behind the candles. Nice. Okay, where was everybody else? Beauty was
You
there. Oh
literally
my
walked
gosh, I
on
walked
top
right
of
past you.
It was so
Looked at me
good.
so many times I thought I was gonna get shot.
And then Lux was there.
I just don't
And
know
then
how.
Johnny
I don't
was
know how I
here.
got caught before Johnny.
Don't shoot,
Johnny was
please.
painted.
Like legit,
my
I just
God.
put please don't shoot me, and you didn't find me.
So
I
good.
wasn't in that direction.
Maybe a little more
I'm a
on the
bad
lighter
hunter.
side?
It's so good.
I don't hunt very often at all. Somehow I never get picked. Maybe because I have Johnny's name.
Are we enjoying the random basic maps still?
Yeah.
I'm good. Yeah.
And paint time, is that good now or longer?
I
thought it was
time is fine. I was thinking maybe give the hunters a little bit more time. The hard part about random is not knowing what map you're gonna get, so you can't choose a body type.
That's the fun of it. I just keep
Taylor.
choosing plump. Gotta force Stunty to hunt more.
Climbing the walls.
Hi, Phoenix. Oh my gosh, I'm hunting
Ooh.
again. No way.
Oh God.
The game said yes.
I blame
I
Phoenix.
want you to know, by the way, Tori said, how in the heck did you not find Johnny? What?
Because I'm a goober.
There's no good body things for this one. Oh, maybe there is.
Oh, right, I did the infection.
Lux, do you hear your child here?
No, I don't. Is she being sassy?
Oh yeah, she's being sassy. Her and Bear are both assassin at the neighbors right now, kind of woofing.
Yes, chat, as a reminder, we are
Oh,
raising
that's so
funds
cute.
for 1,000 Dreams Fund. We have raised $75 so far. I have my goal set for 500, but I also know that we are $500 away from me hitting $2,000 raised through Tiltify total ever, which I think would be
Dang.
amazing to hit right now if we could do that.
Johnny looks like a turtle.
And I do have a surprise if we do that, which Johnny kind of almost spoiled if anyone caught it. So,
Oh, we're doing increasing
My
tag
bad.
now. Okay, now so I can't see where.
if anyone can donate, thank you, Johnny, for hitting the link. I also do have the panel extension, whatever the thing is called, somewhere on Twitch. It's somewhere. so that you don't even have to leave the stream, and it's like super convenient. But yeah, and at $100, chat picks a new merch item to go in the store. So within reason. I know you gremlins.
Us gremlins?
I know you gremlins.
Oh, that is the most emo Ninja Turtle I've ever seen.
Listen! It's so shiny.
A shiny.
Yeah.
Oh god, I just heard someone really close to me.
I wonder how many of us are in the same place. At one of these times, there was like 3 of us in one spot.
Yeah, because on creasing tag you can't see the other players until you're.
Yeah.
Which is so fun.
There's been a couple of times I've been like right on top of somebody else. I'm like, how of the entire map am I on top of somebody else?
Define reason. There are going to be rules, Renato. We ain't doing thongs.
Oh my god, an ostrich and a thong.
I did have
Like for the lulz, not in general.
No, you know, there was, you know how I did the J emote? Thank you for the hydrate. Jay's emote with the twerking?
Yes.
I did have at one point an image in my brain of the ostrich one, but with its face in the ground.
No! I can't focus!
Okay, that's legit. It would be funny as hell, I'm not gonna lie.
I just have to draw it.
I can't focus like that. Wait.
Dang it.
How do I get out of first person? There we go.
F, or, not F, 5.
Yeah, I got it. I accidentally hit the button. I was like, what do I do?
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, we're doing Hunter?
We're doing, yeah, I turned on,
I know somebody's over here. I can hear them.
This is fun.
Okay, I'm gonna go over here. I haven't looked over here yet. Woo! Like,
ooh, piece of candy.
Moved way farther than I wanted to.
We've got an hour until the raid train comes, which means a little more than an hour before I can take this thing off.
Oh, I heard you like right flipping here. It's not like
Also,
you're
every time.
inside the gingerbread house, right?
No.
No.
Every time I look over, when I was looking over at your stream view, your camera, I still just think of Spaceballs. Like the way the lighting is. It keeps making me think of what's the name with the helmet up, though.
That's, yeah. You should have seen me trying to do my makeup.
Oh my god.
Because I realized I couldn't do my makeup before I put no face on.
You should just leave me there. I'm just saying.
Dang, Siren is really trying hard right now, too. Holy crap. Siren is like dedicated to that one spot.
I'm hearing the whistle like right flipping here.
I know, I was too, and I could not figure it out earlier. So I was like, I'm moving on.
This is fun.
Beauty, are you the one that's left? Who's left?
Me and Johnny.
Aye. That one sounds farther away.
Oh my god, I can't.
What the? Oh, yep. We saw her at the same time.
Okay, they are over here somewhere.
Yeah, 100%.
Johnny motherfucking Boombots, where are you hiding?
Right here somewhere. Aha! Found you, stinker!
I knew
Come on, why did I shoot you to this junk?
How did you get in there?
Yeah, why did you Stinker, where'd you go? He's on the run!
You'll never catch me, I'm the gingerbread man! Ah!
I got you turd.
That's like my go-to
I
spot
was
too.
God.
also a gingerbread man.
Oh my god, I
I
love
mean, look at me. I did a really good job on the bow tie.
when people do the whole
I
being.
think
Oh,
someone
there is a kid.
accidentally turned their in-game on.
Oh, not me.
Mine's off.
Mine's off.
Was it me?
I don't know. Was it you?
I don't know. Mine says it's off.
Mine says off.
It says off. Maybe it was a glitch.
You'll never catch me. I like when people do the whole becoming a pretzel.
Are we ready for another round?
Yeah.
Let me know if we want to switch to like modded maps or anything.
I don't mind modded maps. Minecraft
Yeah.
one is fun.
This is a modded map.
Repo one is fun too.
Wait, what?
Yeah, there's a repo map.
Oh,
Oh,
we're back on this one again.
I know where I'm going. Who's hunting?
I know where I'm going. Can I game? Thank you. Paint first. Then
There's a Brock station. Chat, catch that Pokemon.
little touch darker. Oh god, the countdown's begun.
Sorry if the camera's shaking when I'm painting. I just realized that might happen.
I'll just go
Yeah,
this time, but this'll do.
that's good enough.
This'll do.
That's
You were
pretty
close.
Dunty's hunting again.
Oh, Beauty, tomorrow night, if you're free, and you want to, I'm helping Tori and,
Yeah, you said during the stream.
okay, yeah, I wasn't sure if you were around or not. I knew you were lurking a lot today, that's why.
Yeah, until you let me know what time.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, it's probably like 7, I think. 6:37.
6, 7, 0, 7.
There's a wizard in the sky?
Oh, what the heck? Like Ronald McDonald. But like the Wish version. Ooh.
Oh no, Lux.
Oh no.
Was that better though?
I don't know, I
Why
couldn't
is
see
someone
you.
whistling next to me?
Oh. Well, I now know where Siren's at. But God, Siren, if you and I have the same spot, I'm gonna die laughing.
I'm not gonna lie, I am sweating right now.
Me too.
Dang it!
Really warm.
Oh. You're just close to wherever I'm lurking at right now.
I don't know what you're talking about. Dang it.
Okay, no sweat. 180 seconds to survive. Sure. Yeah, I'll make it.
Whistle?
No. Dang it. Freaking auto whistle. Guys, I'm on the other side of the map. I'm just throwing the whistle. Oh.
Sure you are.
Stunt's concentrating real hard.
Stunt's probably eating.
Oh, true.
Where? God.
God dang it!
I just shot. What the hell?
Of course, it was beauty that shoots me.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I was the ball on top of the carousel.
Oh, okay. That's actually a good one.
That was pretty good. There was one, I was like the little thing on top of the fountain. Thank you for the alert, Foo Bar. I appreciate you and the hug. I hug back. Johnny, what are you doing?
Alcohol.
What?
What are you doing?
Oh. My bad.
Ah. Let's see what.
Where did Lux go?
Where did Lux go?
Uh-oh.
Right there?
I don't see her in the lobby.
Look up.
Oh. Even I was like, where is she?
She's playing Jesus right now.
Feel fancy.
Let me rephrase that. She's playing Jesus right now because she yelled.
Yeah.
We're gonna try a new
Oh,
map.
speaking of, remind me to make tell you a joke tomorrow when I talk to you off stream about that.
No Face is just gonna stare at you till you tell it.
Oh, it had to do with the joke that we made that time about the Jesus with the nails and stuff. But
Oh, were you were wondering if they made screws back then?
oh, you did hear that. Okay, I wasn't sure. That was the yeah DX. That one. I wasn't sure if you heard about that one. You heard that one or not.
Oh!
Garten a Bam Man. Yee.
Oh my god, I'm so tiny. Oh god, what are these things?
This is a horror game, Johnny.
That makes sense because nightmare fuel.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Step Papa!
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Is this Papa John's?
Okay.
Papa Wonk.
Papa Juan's? Oh, that'd be a nice
Papa
Mexican
Wonk.
restaurant.
It really would be.
How are you, Stun
Anyone
Papa?
care to send me info? Hi, beauty.
Why?
Not jump up there? There you go.
Well, I don't even get that kind of greeting from Step Papa.
Hi, John.
He likes me better.
I mean, that's definitely understandable.
Who doesn't, right?
Exactly. Oh, this is such a bad spot. Oh.
No! Oh, stupid game. No.
Stop Papa. The info is beauty. It's DGS, right?
Yeah, all caps.
Is there a password?
Yeah, UB, all caps. I decided to be difficult.
Rotation lock. Rotation place.
I'm here.
Did it again.
This is over here.
That's not the color I wanted. Oh no, I missed painting a portion. Dang it. I
You
wanted
can
to
still
look
paint.
cute.
Yeah, you can keep painting. This mode you can keep painting. There are
Yep.
modes where you can't.
No, it's no. Is there a way? That
I'm
button.
still painting.
I'm still painting.
Because I kept falling out of position, so it's like, God damn
But
it.
I'm the hunter.
Oh, yeah, no, you are.
Oh, yeah.
Never mind. you
Live.
shot its butt.
Hi. Do you like my outfit?
I do like your outfit. So cute.
Cute.
Alright. Let's see if we can find Johnny and shoot Johnny.
You have to get Step Papa.
I can't.
If you want, I'll go a few feet that way and tell you what she looks like.
Oh. You guys make me smile. This is really hard in gloves.
So is this supposed to be like a Poppy playtime, or is this Garden of Ban Ban? Is that what this is?
Yeah, this is Garten of Ban Ban.
Nailed it.
Which is similar to like the Poppy Playtime genre.
Yeah, I remember that one.
I played through a couple of these chapters. I didn't stick with it.
Yeah.
No. Frankly, I can understand that.
The end is here.
It wasn't as fun. It was more frustrating.
Okay, that was 2 whistles. I
I heard it too.
Whistles won't help me because the right side of my headphones isn't working, so I only have a left ear. So it's gonna throw me off if I whistle if I hear whistles.
There's one of them.
How could you?
For me, Discord, the way my audio is set up, Discord, why it's everything else. So I generally can't hear the game very well.
Oh dang, that's gotta be annoying.
A little bit. A little bit.
Nope.
Hi, Nab Nab. Do you have anyone up here? No. Okay.
That's stepmom. Johnny, I think is the only one missing.
Johnny's been seen though.
She looked right at me, shot me, but I didn't get any points for it.
Dang it! I was really trying to run right
Nice.
at stunt to not get caught.
Oh, we can't go in the slide? That's sad.
Oh, that's in the other room. I didn't get to go see the answer check. Oh well.
Oh, there's more poses?
There are more poses.
Yeah, they did an update.
Oh, giggity.
And they have a plump body type too now.
This is how I spend most of my day. In this
Think so?
position.
Prove it.
How?
Pictures.
Pixar didn't happen. Yeah.
Crap. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Oh, actually, step up. I gotta show you a photo. Your wife didn't find me for a while, and I was blatant as hell.
Oh my god, yeah. It was so funny.
I'm still salty. I'm just saying, like, I thought I was in a great spot. Like, I matched, and Johnny got to so high. Like, my god.
Let's see.
That actually is pretty good stump up of that copy.
Gee, thanks.
It looks like it could be a plant.
Oh my god.
Do we have any?
Oh
map
yeah, I saw that
requests?
one, Johnny. That
Oh,
was
you did? Oh,
funny.
okay.
Yeah, I was in here asking her if she wanted fries with her sandwich.
Using your mask in chat. Catch that Pokemon is part of
Cocktail?
the event. You want to do cocktail?
Yeah.
Okay. It's really
cocktail?
big. It's really big, just so you guys know.
Heard. Are we gonna add more time for the hunt then?
We might add more time to both.
Okay. I'll need to download it.
Oh, it automatically downloads now? What the heck?
It didn't for me.
Why doesn't it give me the option there either?
You must already have it then.
We played
No,
it.
it's saying I gotta download it.
There you go. Click it. Click the blue.
Is that your name or my
Oh,
name?
Oh, that's your
Boom
name.
butts.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
Johnny.
I did download this already. Never mind.
I was gonna say we played this one.
That's right. That's right.
Oh snap! This looks big.
That's what she said.
Hey yo, not to me.
That's what I'm gonna do. Normal body.
Still my favorite Legend of Zelda game.
Oh no, I'm the first hunter.
Yay! Oh, this is Zelda.
Oh my god, I'm so happy.
Wow, this is a biggin.
That's why I added so much time.
Oh my god. Wow. It's almost
'Cause
5 minutes.
I literally just ran around and then was like, oh, right, I need to hide. I'm just wandering around looking. This is a problem.
I may be doing the same, not gonna lie. Did you see they did Cookie Forest?
Kokiri Forest? Yeah, we've played that one. Quite a bit.
There's so much going on. I don't need
There really is. There really is.
This is making me so happy. Y'all don't understand. Like, I know I'm gonna get shot first. I'm fine with that. I already know this. But, like, I'm so freaking happy right now.
That's all that matters, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh my god, this is amazing.
Every spot I'm trying to hide and I can't. Oh my god.
I haven't even found a spot to hide yet.
I am literally away from.
I mean, I'm already hidden.
because I'm too buried. What the fuck?
Oh my god, there's another oh my god, there's another area?
There are tons of areas.
I gotta commit. Oh my god. This keeps going.
Isn't it Chris?
That said, you can limit it to just certain parts of the map. So
Okay,
yes,
but
there
like
is that
three-
option.
One part per 3 people. So was the recommended.
This is more fun.
She's 1,000% gonna find me first.
You say that, and then I couldn't find Johnny for forever.
Yeah, but you found me
Legit.
first. And I was really well hidden. Like,
It's the really well hidden ones that you can't find. Oh, that she
Yeah,
can
she's
find.
probably gonna find me first, which is gonna be hilarious.
Does it have a name tag on that says Link? I had 5 minutes and I'm barely starting to paint. This is absurd.
Yep, I'm gonna be painting for a hot minute where I'm at too. So I'll probably be found while I'm still painting.
Just gonna watch where I'm at.
I like my spot.
This game is fun.
It really is.
I didn't finish coloring Link. I'm a very, very awful Link.
Her new name is Wonk.
Long
Oh, I didn't even mean to shoot.
or Linkle.
Linkle.
Yes.
Is one of you a fish?
That
Oh
reminds
God,
me
I
of the
thought I
painting,
was.
that drawing our son did for us when he was really young. Their Zelda was their first game they ever played, like they really got into,
Aw.
and they made drawings for us, and one of them labeled it Lonk because he didn't know how to spell Link, and it was adorable. I think we still have it somewhere. I loved it.
That's amazing.
It really is.
I need a whistle.
This guy turn into Marco Polo real quick.
I'm just gonna continuously whistle.
As soon as I'm done painting, I will too.
There's so much to look at.
Yeah, I do not want to be the hunter on this one. This would be terrible.
Who's taunting like that?
Me.
Oh, now there's two people taunting.
I hear it.
Oh, I like your paint job.
Yo, stop on Rhino will listen to you, so you
Yeah.
definitely need to keep on
Nice,
his ass about
beauty.
that, by the way.
What?
Rhino will listen to the two of you. So you two need to keep on his ass and tell him to go to a doctor.
Oh yeah, he hurt himself.
Wait, what'd he do?
He doesn't know.
Alright. Let's see.
Who is?
Oh, nice, Johnny.
I had a feeling I was gonna get caught. Ooh. There's
See,
somebody
Lex,
else in that
you got
area
caught
too.
Right away.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, somebody was whistling, and then all of a sudden you got real quiet.
No.
Uh huh. Uh huh. Oh, that's good actually.
Dang it.
Good try running though.
Who shot at me, beauty?
I don't know what you're talking about. It wasn't me. Pew. Oh, stun, Papa.
What is this area?
Yes.
Where are
Waiting for a whistle.
Got 10 seconds for a whistle. Unless he taunts one.
This would be a nerve-wracking 316 seconds.
Cody, thank you for the.
I couldn't hear it on my side of the map.
It's over here. It's by
Stock's a
Siren
stock.
and me.
Speeding violation, $500.
Sorry, I meant to do the big shout out. My bad.
I got it.
Can I not climb on top of the roof?
Welcome in, Raider. Hi, everybody. We know face today.
Climb up there, so...
How was your
Yeah, you can't get
links
up
with
that
Essie?
high.
For those who don't know me, I'm Unwell Beauty. I'm
Oh.
a variety streamer.
Oh,
I am.
I didn't
Cody's
hear
God
it. Where
damn
was
it.
he?
deadbeat
he was
teammate.
behind the bench.
He was
All the grass.
We are currently playing some Meccha Chameleon.
So yeah, come down the hallway. Oh,
Oh, down over there.
I was like, there's
Back
still someone
there.
left.
No, there's no one left.
Oh, there isn't? Oh.
Oh, nice jump, Papa.
If you
It's
want
like, why
to
can't I
join,
see
please
anybody's
feel free.
stuff?
If you need to raid and run, please also feel free. Post screen care is super important, but I am so grateful that you are here. In about half an hour, we are going to be on the Dream Girl Summer Raid train. So we have half an hour left of our community Mecca Chameleon, and then I have to join over with Hello Kayla. Because Hello Kayla's birthday is going to be coming up tomorrow. But yes.
Me practicing my running skills.
This is me ice skating. I'm a master.
I am very much regretting this cosplay right now. Holy crap.
Same map?
Do you want to do the same map, but do you want me to limit it?
Why is my character bouncing around?
Same map, same settings. I was happy with it all. Unless someone else wanted to
It
add
was
more
fun.
draw time.
Anyone?
You know we gotta get that Bob Ross in too.
We do gotta get that Bob Ross in.
That Bob Ross though.
Stand by, but look at this one.
Nice. Look, I do CrossFit.
No, that's your wife. That wasn't me. That's Johnny Boombutts.
It's hard to tell the difference sometimes between boom butts and boom bots.
Yeah, it happens.
But yes, we are also raising money for the 1000 Dreams Fund. We've currently raised $75.
Oh, we're doing the same one? Okay.
Yeah. That's what people said they wanted.
Try something. Perfect.
There's a Lapani in chat. Cash App Pokemon is part of the event. Oh.
That's a high. 743.
Who's first hunter?
Me.
Who's me? I didn't hear.
Siren.
Ah,
It's
okay.
Siren's gonna come hunt you all.
Oh, probably. I'm not doing a very good job. I just committed to something for once.
What? For once?
10, 50, 70, and a 150.
We're gonna see how long. Siren, that look. I don't like the smile. It's scurry.
Big guy, don't hit me with that, please.
Probably the dumbest thing I've ever done.
Same.
I'm okay with that. It's fine. Rawr. Oh, yeah, but
It's
as I
just
was
the
saying,
neighbors. They are across the street. They are doing nothing.
as I was saying, we are raising
Why
funds
can't
for
you be like
1,000
Lily
Dreams
and come
Fund.
over here and just get pets and loves, huh?
For Dream Girls Summer, which is going towards all of the 1,000 Dreams Fund grants. So not just the Broadcast Her initiative, but also for their student grants, which is absolutely incredible. So they can fund women in gaming, but also students in STEAM, which is just, or STEM rather, which is just really incredible. We are currently $75 raised. My goal is $500, but we are currently $500 away from me hitting 2K raised on Tiltify total ever. And I'm curious to see if we can hit that. Because I think y'all can. Because that would be incredible. And we have milestones along the way. First one is at $100. That would be chat picks, new merch.
Hello.
I forget what 200 is. No Face is slowly seeping out my brains.
You said you didn't know which one what was?
Honestly, I forget what all of them are.
Oh, your
Yeah.
goals are going to be a
After
matter
100.
of... So 100 is chat picks, new merch, 200 community Mecca Chameleon night,
Oh, yes.
300 finish you off the spicy Skittle gummies,
Yes. all of them.
400 diamond painting stream, 500 diamond painting coasters giveaway. You still have to finish
Yes.
those.
I do.
575 is pie face.
Johnny! That was supposed to be a
Oh.
surprise. But yes.
I
sure.
thought they said. Oh, you said I almost spoiled it. Crap. Sorry.
Johnny did spoil it. So yeah, if we hit $575 raised, which would mean I raised $200 or $2,000 on Tiltify total, I will pie myself in the face with whipped cream. Which will be at a future date because I forgot to get whipped cream.
Oh my
Don't
god,
do
can
it,
you
it's
do a
not worth
future
it, man.
date where I come visit and I get to smack you with the pie?
I couldn't hear.
If you want.
Yes, please.
Johnny, maybe you can spoil the date for that one too, huh?
Alright,
But everyone has to hit it first.
Well done. Well done. Well done.
Everyone has to hit that goal first.
Oh man. Damn it! If I wasn't broke right now, I would literally fund it enough just to be able to smack you in the face with a pie.
I know.
No whistles over here either.
Mwahaha.
Are you all hiding like same?
I got a screenshot where I'm at so you guys can see it after I get caught.
Hey, go ahead and send it to me, Johnny.
Yeah, no problem. I got you. I'll spoil that too.
You're very good at spoiling everything.
He's really good at it, isn't he?
Oh, God.
Hilariously, Johnny thought I was ending, or like, joint ending the raid train today, and I was like, no, it goes on for like a whole other day.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought that.
I
I thought Kayla was ending it, like finishing it off, and I knew you were reading it to her, so I thought that was the end of it. I don't know why. I really haven't paid attention this time for some reason.
She is, but she's doing it on the 1000 Dreams Fun channel.
You said you want whistles?
I was waiting for the timer whistle.
This freaking headset's already dying. That's
I
no
only
problem.
finally just heard a whistle and it was so faint. Are you on the other side of this wall?
Can I pick up my cable with my toes?
No, I can't go past it. Okay, that was close.
There we go.
Oh my god.
Very uncomfortable time.
The frickin' chicken.
Listen, I was proud of that too.
That was pretty good.
That was a dog the one time I played. Thank you for the hydrate,
I guess I
Renato.
did it too.
Me hydrating looks difficult. Well, here's the thing about a PVC backpack. There's no give. So it's literally like, what I would assume is like a scoliosis kind of brace is what I'm wearing. I
That
like
was
how
good,
at
David.
first you were gonna walk away and then you just like looked again.
Yeah, because I was like, that just looks off. I'm like, but I don't know what
My
looks
headset
off
died,
about
didn't
it. Quick, talk about her. She can't hear us.
It did die. Okay, there you go. This freaking headset, man.
I know you're here.
I feel like somebody's in here with the fairy.
That was a laugh.
Sure was.
Hi, Johnny.
It's like I hear whistling
my God.
by the fairy.
Did y'all see that?
There is someone over here by me.
Wait, see what?
I don't know what you're talking about, Siren.
I even looked at you, and or have I just like heard you?
The creepy statue thing.
No. What creepy statue?
Peek
Creepy
at my
statues all over the place. What we
No,
gotta be more specific.
peek at my stream real quick.
Oh, hold on. Where? What the heck? Yeah, no thank you.
Oh, and then we got Georg over here.
No, I was doing so good.
That was a beautiful paint job. I will give you that.
My poor body.
Can't wait to see it.
Not over here.
I mean, look across the room.
Yeah.
Someone thought it was funny.
Anybody hear whistles?
No.
Yeah, I've been
No.
hearing them over here at the clock tower area. I just haven't figured out where they're.
Oh.
Okay.
Don't be ridiculous. I think it was over by the
I
river.
don't know who it is.
It was over by the river. Whatever that. I heard the whistles too.
Oh.
Let's go over that way, guys. Let's go over to Zelda's house.
Zelda doesn't live here.
I was gonna say, what the
Doesn't
hell?
go here.
Siren
I
is
was just about to say that.
I don't play a lot of Zelda. Sorry. I was a Final Fantasy kid.
Can't
growing
I
up.
stand up?
Why can't I
Okay,
go all
I
the way
heard it.
up? I want to go all the way up. I'm gonna whine.
I couldn't stand up. I felt like Ratio. I'm like, why am I crouched? God dang it, stunt. You and that Johnny Boombutts. I keep getting myself confused. I'm like, oh my god. Oh, that's
I
right here.
hear you. I just can't figure out where.
I can hear you, but I don't. I feel like he wedged himself into somewhere he probably shouldn't be. Oh, wait.
It's like over here somewhere around the milk area. Got him!
Oh,
That was
dang.
fantastic.
That looks so
Beautiful.
good, Snubhopper. Holy
Thank
crap.
you. Well, I spent
Holy
like
crap,
9 minutes
babe.
painting.
You should come see the one from over here, the little crate.
My little box.
Like that is so good.
Yeah,
I
Oh,
like
forgot, you
Johnny.
get one bow.
good.
I like Johnny's chicken.
Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
like Johnny's chicken.
Oh, let me send that to you, Stunt. I didn't send it to you. I'll put it in the other thing.
I like that map.
Yeah, that's a good one.
All right, Bob Ross time.
Your chicken's so good. That's good.
Should we do roughly the same amount of time for Bob Ross?
Why not?
Sure.
What's Bob Ross?
What's
Oh.
Bob Ross?
I mean, I
You're
know
I wanna
who
be a
he
hunter for
is,
this.
but
Oh no, yeah, you're in for a treat.
Oh yeah.
I want to be a hunter.
Stand in the middle if you want to be hunter.
Yeah, no, I had to make sure I ran back fast enough.
I cannot. wait
Usually
to
I'm good
take
at
this off.
painting, but I love hunting on this map.
I can't take it off for a while yet. People need to see it.
Oh God.
um, I don't have these painting skills.
We have plenty of time.
We believe in you.
Welcome in, Raiders. Or is it-
What'd that burp do?
There's only like 2 poses you could really choose from for this freaking map.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this is gonna suck painting while I'm standing. Welcome in, Raiders. For those who don't know me, I'm Unwell Beauty. I'm a variety streamer. I know,
I was
Becca.
trying to tell you, did you
I
see the
am
lamp?
currently dressing no face for our Rainbow Summer Raid Train. It has
Thanks,
been
Moon Nice.
slightly difficult just because A, glove. B, I have to stand because I can't sit in him. Literally cannot sit in him. C,
Wait.
he's not the most
I'm gonna
comfortable
hit
because
the
he's a
floor.
PVC backpack,
I'm gonna hit the floor.
essentially. And trying to use a mouse and keyboard while you're standing has proven really difficult. But if anyone needs to raid and run, please feel free. Yes! I also can't see with the thing down. I will pull it down when the raid train comes for a little bit. But I can't see with it down, so that's why it's not currently down.
Also, while Beauty focuses on painting right now, though, too, Berta did say what that burp do.
I don't have the stream. Oh, I do have the stream. No, I can't look. I can't be stream sniping. What's up, Berta? I had the stream away so I could be good, but now I can't even look at half my computer.
And Beauty Tarda said, hi, looking good.
Hi, Tardis, thank you. If anyone needs to raid and run, please feel free. Post stream, they're super important, but I'm super grateful that you raided in. Also, we are
Also,
raising
nice
funds.
catch, Johnny.
It's Johnny.
Yeah, someone
We are
else
raising
elects
funds for the
Homestar
1000
Runner.
Dreams Fund.
Anytime I bring it
Where
up,
now,
I'll
if we
remember what
raise
it is.
$575, which gets me up to $2,000 raised on Tiltify total. Originally, I was just gonna pie myself in the face with whipped cream, but now Johnny has made it so that he will drive up and be the one to pie me in the face.
Yep.
So if y'all want
I
to
will
see
literally
that,
take a drive for a day trip.
if y'all want to see that, click that donate button.
You also got 10 minutes, by the way.
Thank you. Ah! Oh no! no! I just erased most of my painting because I hit space in the wrong spot.
Oh god, I hate that.
Yeah, there's no undo button.
I know.
Hazy said, "Love the face."
Thank you. Hi, Hazy. Okay, now we need to. Oh, this is so difficult. It's like when you're trying to write on a chalkboard because it's like so different from when you're writing on a desk, you know? Also, my mom and I went to see Hadestown in theaters yesterday. If anyone is able to, please definitely go see it. It is phenomenal.
What is Hades Town?
Hadestown is a Broadway musical about Orpheus and Eurydice, and a little bit about Hades and Persephone as well. But the music is more of like a Louisiana blues kind of feel, Louisiana
Oh,
jazz
cool.
kind of mix. It was so good, and the pro shot was so well done. They're doing a limited run in movie theaters right now, which is amazing that they're doing. So it's like a kind of like how they did Hamilton, but Hamilton put it on Disney Plus instead.
Ooh, I'm gonna watch that tonight.
Hamilton?
Yeah.
I have not seen that.
Oh, it's so good.
Johnny, take a few minutes and tell me how good it is. In
It
detailed
is
terms.
so enough time to be able to run down the clock, right?
Yeah, you know, like maybe 320 seconds or so. Tell me how many, and you know.
I'm actually going to see it on not Broadway in New York, but like I think in Maryland or no DC. I'm going to see it in DC.
Nice.
It's so good that it can't be explained in 320 seconds. It has to be explained by seeing it.
You know what? You would let Hamilton himself down if you didn't at least try.
I would, but it's okay though. I mean, I let most of my family down on a regular basis, so Hamilton could be
Well,
okay.
how are you going to let America down then, huh?
Oh, damn, you got me there.
I did. I got you.
I'm mad that's actually working right now too, because I like literally was like just talking and
Yeah.
not even concentrating on like what I was doing.
Oh no.
You know, and how does it make you feel? Use your words, Johnny.
Oh my god.
Somehow I stood up.
I did that once and I ruined everything. Worked so hard.
God damn it.
The minute you said yeah, because I said that I wasn't concentrating, and you said yeah, I'm like, I missed her. I'm like, I definitely walked past her.
Well, look at how many points I got, Johnny.
Holy crap, dude.
Gorsh.
Oh, I need to continue with my usual strat. I can't deviate.
And we're never gonna find Stunty.
Oh yeah, you are. This one is not good.
Okay, I guess that is how that is, but that just looks weird. Are you the bench again?
Oh my god, you are so loud. Who was that?
Your mom. Oh.
Dang it!
That's
No!
why you were so loud.
I was in between two paintings. I made it too complicated.
Oh no, I love doing those though.
I do. I just didn't have enough time to paint. It wasn't very good.
Let's see. Now everyone knows I love doing those, so that everyone's gonna just ride the edges and look for me now. Dang it. I ruined my own strat.
Feels bad, man.
It does.
so loud.
Dang it! I was still painting.
I had to stop painting because I felt like if I started painting, they would maybe see the lines coming up,
Oh, I'm
and
sorry,
I didn't want to.
Tardis.
I didn't want to give anything away.
I was like, oh Jesus!
Oh my god, are you serious right now? What is this?
Hi,
Lux,
Johnny.
I'm so mad that I'm like, why is she so loud? I turn around and she's on the wall. Just like, I'm looking everywhere down below me and not at the wall. And I'm like, no.
That's honestly very clever.
That was so good.
Yeah, we need to find Stump Papa.
It's fine. You don't have to.
Oh, over this way.
He's up this way.
I could smell you.
I'm sorry to
Did you
hear
just
that.
say you can smell him? Johnny. Johnny.
Yeah, that's that. No, listen, there's a whole meme about that. Not literally talking about him in general. Like,
Uh-huh.
You could be though. I do kind of stank. I was in the gym.
Don't
have you
side
not
with
seen
him.
me paint that on my back sometimes so I can smell you?
I have
Yeah,
not seen
I
that.
just figured you were creepy.
No,
That is
there's a
probably
whole-
more applicable.
That true, very
Yeah.
true.
3 minutes till the raid train comes. Stump Papa. Where you at? Where you at? Where you at?
Gotta be right here somewhere.
Yeah, by these trees, mountain area, like it seems like.
Shadows are throwing me off.
There's a way to turn off your shadow. I don't remember how.
That's it. I'm going full Nyx mode.
I I thought that the shadow thing was just like you only for you. I didn't know they turned it off for everybody. I feel like that would be a little
I think it's
disingenuous.
just. I think it's just your shadow.
Yeah, so you can like paint better or something.
Yeah.
Cheat,
Wow.
cheater,
What?
cheat,
That
butt.
Wow,
was
I can't
cheating.
see you at
But-
all there.
Okay,
That's really good.
that was the most wild, random shot ever.
It was. You're
I
right.
could not see you at all.
That's amazing. Oh,
I liked mine. I almost didn't think you'd find me over here. in
Hi,
this corner.
readers.
You know, I'm gonna give you credit for that one because that was actually really
We
smart.
got a co-raid to
GG's.
support Dream Girl Summer. Yay!
oh my god, that was great. Oh my god, that just scared the crap out of me.
How was your stream, Sai? Welcome in, Raiders. For those who don't know me, I'm Unwell Beauty. I'm a variety streamer. Currently, we are dressed as No Face, and it's not my best decision ever, but it's fine. Thank you for the follows. Welcome to the Ostrich Army. Our follows are anonymous. Feel free to chat or lurk, whichever you prefer. We are happy to have you. Today, we are raising funds for 1000 Dreams Fund. My goal is $500, but if we hit 575 raised, which will be 2,000 raised on Tiltify total. Thank you. Johnny will drive up and pie me in the face someday.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yes.
It was originally just gonna be I pie myself in the face. You know, nice and gingerly and nicely. Nope. Now it's Johnny going to be violent and
Oh
pieing
my
me in the
God.
face.
What if I could convince them to let me do it at the JCPenney photo shoot too? Oh. I have to ask my wife if I could borrow the credit card just to like make a big donation.
I don't know if JCPenney's will let that, but you know, you can try. Amateur with the raid. Hi, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome in, Raiders. We are currently No Face.
I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Unwell Beauty. I'm a variety streamer. We are currently no face. I have my face out because I can't see to sit down. Thank you for the donation. I'm scared to see how much it was. I can't see it right now because I only have one screen. I'm so scared. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the Ostrich Army. Our follows are anonymous. Feel free to chat or lurk. But if you guys need to raid and run, please feel free. Post-stream care is super important. But we are happy to have you. We just got double rated, so I'm a little out of breath. Plus, this thing is hot and uncomfortable. This is essentially
Beauty.
a PVC backpack. What?
It was the stunts for 25, just so you know, so you don't have to like tab out.
Thank you, Stunties!
You're welcome.
Loves you.
That means we hit $100, which means chat gets to choose merch at a later date because I have to pick the rules and choices. You love the no face? Here, I'll put the face down. Or I'll put my face away, I guess. Is a better way to say it. Please hold. Yeah. So this is the full effect.
Oh, ads are running.
Oh. Well, that's
I meant to snooze
unfortunate.
them. Whoops.
That's okay. We'll stay like this for a while. You just might have to read chat to me.
Somebody said, "Oh my god, that's terrifying. What is she wearing on her face? Holy crap! Who is that?"
This is
He's
no
like-
face.
That was me just making stuff up, by the way.
You suck.
Mellow
So Mellow
from the
Mellow
kitchen.
said, "So where is Beauty?" He did say that.
This is me. So no face I made in 2014 for a convention. He did not win anything at the cosplay contest, but Mooney won that one, so, you know. Granted, she...
There's a wild Kangaskhan in the chat. Part of the event. Catch that Pokemon.
Can I hit the right button? We'll find out.
I get to see your headphones. That's all you.
You can see my headphones? That's funny.
That's all I can see.
B12 OG.
Mellow said he won our
B12.
hearts.
OG. B12.
He won it. Well, and the best part is I would give out Rolos as the gold. And people were scared to take it. I also scared 2 grown buff men in an elevator. And they were like, "Oh my god, that's scary, dude." And I was like, "Thanks!" In the girliest voice I could make. They were less than thrilled. But this is like insulation foam with spackle on top to reinforce it. And then painted, of course. This is all actually a PVC backpack. It's not the most comfortable thing, but, you know, it is what it is.
Mellow said that's classic. You touching it is actually quite terrifying.
Oh my gosh, Tim Papa. I just knew what was going on.
What are you doing, Joe?
Nothing.
No.
Just keep it off of Beauty's stream. That's all.
Alright, now I need to look, so I need to take my face out again.
Ads are finishing up in about 5 seconds.
Oh no, I lost my hands. Hang on.
What?
I pulled it through 2 layers instead of just 1.
Oh my god, Stump Papa.
What? Stop looking, you weirdo. Just a guy doing some yoga over here. You're ogling me.
What?
You're making me uncomfortable. Why are you staring?
I'll be like, why are you staring at my other eye for? What are you doing?
Doing yoga. This is a serious thing, okay?
I also
It's
have
very
to check
spiritual.
in with Kayla.
Oh my god. Beauty, at this point you gotta go join over to the other group, right?
That's what I'm checking on real quick.
Okay.
Because I think while we have the raid train,
No, you did not.
It was perfect right in your
it
face.
is. Hi, Lady
my
Lunity.
God.
Welcome in. What's up? I'm very hot and uncomfortable, so I might not last very long in him, or I might have to shift him a little.
You're standing
Because he
over
definitely
my head.
loosened underneath.
Okay, hold
So,
on. Let me
what
just,
if we
let me just
do
hold on
one
second.
more round and I
Stay,
just start as Hunter
no,
and like shift?
I'm gonna T-pose in dominance over
Why are you putting your? Why are you putting it in my face?
You moved into my yoga zone, okay? It is a defense mechanism, defensive measure.
Oh my God.
Because I think Kayla's still getting ready.
What was that?
I have no idea what I was hearing.
I don't know what I was hearing either.
I thought it was somebody a tab open on my PC. I'm like, what? Oh my God, Stumpapa.
Yes.
This is everywhere.
No, just in front of you, pretty much.
God.
Fresh one for you.
Welcome in, Rhino. I can't.
Hey, Rhino, welcome in.
Oh my God.
All right, let's do one more round because I think Kayla's still getting ready. But Stunty's arms were through mine and it looked like I had boobs on my back. Okay.
Nice.
Another Bob Ross.
Do you guys want to do another Bod Bros or do you want to do a different map for the last one?
I'm here
Dealer's
for
choice.
Different.
I
Yep.
Which one?
train conductor's choice.
What did you say, Miss Lux?
I was asking you to do something different.
You know what? Let's go Tanglewood.
Oh, I have
Yes.
not played Tanglewood yet.
We'll do Tanglewood. I'll keep the 360 seconds for
What
Hunter wait time so that I
the
have time
heck?
to adjust this thing. I'm gonna start as Hunter.
If a poltergeist comes out and smacks me, I'd be very upset.
What is going on
It's
over
gonna be
by
funny.
the? Okay.
Yeah. So chat, just know that for a second I'm gonna be adjusting. So my back's
Tanglewood
gonna be
from
towards you.
Phasmophobia. That's great.
So my back's gonna be towards you. Don't mind me. I'm just gonna adjust real quick. Okay. Take off these gloves.
Rhino, how was your day today?
Oh, I have played this one. Never mind.
Okay, I could not be a security camera.
You know, I got you. I'm watching you.
No, you can't be a security camera, I can tell.
Welcome in, Bino.
Sir.
Well,
tank
Miss
top
Beauty
tucked
is
in your
currently
pants.
adjusting her no face.
I know y'all see this shit. Why he look like that? Look. Alright.
What do you mean my body's buried too much? It's not even buried. What the frick? Okay, apparently it does not like me being in this spot at all. Let me go find a different spot.
We're doing good. We're all playing a little bit of Meccha Chameleon before Beauty hops over to play with Kayla and everybody for Kayla's birthday tonight. Hopefully everything else is going good for the rest of the day for you, Bino.
We're getting the call.
Oh, you got a call?
Yep, we're getting the call from Kayla right now.
I don't think Beauty can hear at the moment. I'm not too sure. She's taking her no face off at the moment.
So yeah, that adjustment was actually me doing a full costume change.
Just so you know, Beauty, Lux said that you guys got a call from Kayla and she just hopped out to go, I think, tell her.
Yeah, I heard the call.
Oh, okay.
So last game, or do we need to cut this early?
So we got costume change. We can probably finish this real quick.
Ah, I was right. Doctor Who. I knew it.
Yep, we got our TARDIS dress on. This is another one I made. Alright. Wait, I was Hunter. Why am I not Hunter?
So, someone else is Hunter.
I am also stuck. That was okay. Yeah, 2 looks for the price of 1. So this was fun because I was getting into this one and I found out my corset lacing was all gone. I had to find one of my old corsets and take the lacing out of that one, and was just like, well, that's gonna sucker future beauty, it's fine.
Also, Bino joined in too as well. I did welcome that.
Oh, hi, Bino. Oh, pardon me. Sorry.
Freak him! I'm probably gonna get no points, but I don't think I'm gonna get found either. We'll see.
Thank you.
He's a cute little dipstick. Yes. Yes. Yes, Lily, you are cute. You are fuzzy. Hi. Yes.
Also, before I forget,
Do I just have to leave the guy?
You could eat the berry and maybe try to climb something.
Thank you for shouting out, Kayla.
It's perfect timing. I
No
was
problem.
trying to die, so we can...
I know you were. You'll probably starve soon, I imagine,
I
right?
hope so. I'm gonna try it. Let's see. Let me out.
Alright, there we go.
Oh, Lux is the hunter. Got it.
Looking beautiful there, Lex.
I was gonna say Lux is still. Oh, Lux is here. Okay.
Yeah, Lux just isn't in the call anymore, I don't think.
How was I not shot? How was I not shot?
Yeah, Kayla just went live.
They better not find me. They can find us. It's fine. Literally, I've been found every time, and I'm okay with it.
As long as you're having fun, right?
Exactly. That's
But
why
the friends made
Johnny
along the way.
drives around as a car half the time.
It's funny as hell. I love it. Like I love just being stupid and having fun driving around like cars or just being dumb. I'd be dumb without even trying it. So when I get to try it, it's even more fun.
Exactly.
I come bearing cat. It's no longer.
Yeah, guys.
baby.
Anybody in Beauty's chat, if you want to see her get smacked in the face with a pie by me, make sure you guys hit the donate. You got it at $5.75.
$475 to go. Also, Spriggy! Say hi, Spriggy!
Hi, Sprig!
In the crib.
He was so not amused. You can tell Lux is going, what the heck? Where are
For real.
they?
I hear someone next to me, and I'm thinking of stuff.
Why would you think that?
There's a Diplin in chat. Catch that Pokemon. I don't even know what that Pokemon is. Oh, it's part of the Applin series. Okay.
Are you in the truck?
No.
Maybe.
That would be ridiculous.
Okay, I'm getting shot right now. Like I have no way in hell.
This is amazing.
That's impossible. How?
Yeah, the corseting has all been fixed. It's all tied. He's also not there.
I'm so angry right now.
Why is that?
Because she's looked at me so many times, like straight at me, and I'm whistling at her. And she still hasn't found us.
I looked down the barrel of her gun, and I was surprised I wasn't shot.
Nice catch, Johnny and Beano. I apparently can't catch anything today.
Catch a pie to the face, though, for only $575.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
You were too excited about it.
I really am.
Hey, if it means I get to see my
Oh
wife.
my god. Oh my god, thank you, Lux. Finally, like she was staring at me. Like the gun was on me.
We both reached for the gun.
The gun, the gun, the gun, the gun. Yes, they both reached for the gun.
Why it's a problem to have both of us in chat?
Stop up, is it just you spamming the whistle over and over again?
That is not me. I do not want to be found.
It's certainly not me. There we go.
You just want to be the hunter, didn't you?
Yes.
I gotta check like the spots that I know some people hide, like buried at that time.
Johnny kicked me out of my hole.
I still never get over the time that Stunt decided to be a McDonald's bag in the garbage can.
That was so good, though.
I was a garbage bag in the garbage can. What are you talking?
No, Stunt literally made herself into a brown McDonald's bag with the M and everything in the garbage pail inside the room. And I'm like, the only reason why she got caught is because I was like, they don't have McDonald's assets in Phasmo ever. Like,
I
wait a
tried.
second.
No!
That was good.
Where
That
were
was
you,
good.
Stunt Papa? Oh, nice.
Legit barely saw you except for the fact that it was like so slightly darker, and I was like,
That was good.
oh, that's a good shot, Beauty.
Yes, as soon as you laid down, I knew it was curtains for me.
The fact that she
Yeah.
looked
Oh,
right
dang,
at me so many
Beauty.
times.
That's why I was spamming the whistle. It felt rude.
God.
Someone save me.
Well, thank you guys for playing
All
with
right.
me.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.
It's just fun. We gotta play more.
Yep.
Agreed.
100%. Also, by the way, before I get out of voice, though, love the dress. It looks really good on you.
Thank you. This is like 4 pieces. Because there's the buckle, there's the skirt, there's the corset, there's this little thing that's like my favorite piece of it.
Well, it's super cute.
Thank you.
I like the hood.
Yeah, I love it.
All right. Thanks for
Have a
games, and
wonderful
I'll be in
rest
the
of your
chat.
night. Bye, Beauty. Bye, friends.
Bye, Beauty.
Bye,
Bye,
y'all.
y'all.
Alright, now let me switch over to the other group who's already in.
What is that? Oh! There's a guy! There's a stranger in the toilet! I don't know what he's doing back there. Oh!
Hey!
Hi!
What's going on?
Oh, you know, had a costume change on stream. It was fun.
Oh, yeah, of course. Wait. You know, you're in your costume right now, right? And not ruining anything, maybe, by... You're in the costume in the moment, right, Beauty?
I was No Face and switched out of it already.
Oh, darn. We
I'm
missed it.
sorry.
That's okay. We missed it. Let me make sure... Double check. I'm a professional. Make sure my Discord audio is coming through. Let's see. Wow. There we go.
Yeah, I gotta
Now
do that too.
should be able to hear everybody. Well,
Happy
everyone.
birthday, Kayla.
Oh, thank you so much. And you know what? Technically, we still have 3.5 hours. So, you know, hey.
Early birthday. Early.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. I can't believe I feel, you know what? I'm getting old, as they like to say. The gray hairs are...
Nah. You're getting that experience is what's happening.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right. I like that motto. I think I'm gonna go with it. I am just loading up the game, so thank you everyone for being here. In the first place, I appreciate you. I have all their links dropped in my chat right now. Hopefully it's not spamming anybody who's doing share chat with me. We have Unwell Beauty, we have Luxuria, we have Mina Streams, we have Casually Cat, and we have Angelic Try Short, all who are my friends. I'm calling y'all my friends. I don't care. You have to be my friend.
I will
It is
never
not letting
complain.
me join the stream together.
Oh no, it's not doing you.
Well, yeah.
I was having. It's only for Firefox and Google Chrome, so if you aren't using that, that might be why. Just an FYI.
Oh, I know.
Okay,
I
okay,
only
okay.
use Chrome.
I'm an Opera GX user. Nobody, don't fire me for my job, please. I promise. Okay, let me get a server going really quickly. Let me do this real quick. Let me make sure I have that hidden just to be safe. And I think I'm friends with just about everybody. Actually, before I get into a lobby, let me make sure. Mina, are we friends? On Steam?
I should
Sorry.
hope so.
yes. Let me clarify. On
I don't
Steam?
know actually. Wait. If not, I can send you my friend code.
Okay. Sounds good.
There
I
you are,
just
Miss
put
Lux.
it on the chat.
Okay, cool. Let me really quickly switch over before I do this. Bonk. The menu music is a little addicting.
Yes. Also, I do have. I don't use Discord. I use Desktop, so there's no global mute button. So I apologize in advance.
Okay, that's okay. Just don't tell all of our secrets, beauty.
I don't even know my own secrets, other than Johnny has now said that if we hit the stretch goal of 575, which would be 2,000 raised on Tiltify for me, he is going to drive up and pie me in the face, and he's too excited about it, and I'm really upset. It was originally just gonna be me pieing myself in the face, nice, gingerly, calmly. Now it's gonna be probably WrestleMania with a pie.
No.
Hear me out,
Johnny.
though. You can always be faster than him, turn and hit him in the face with.
That's true. I can just sweep the legs.
Exactly.
All right, I just created a server, so even if we're not friends on Steam, should totally be fine. I'm gonna post it in our group DM, the server name and password.
Awesome.
And then I just switch back over to gameplay. Yeah. Thank you so much for all the happy birthdays. In both my chat and the shared chat. Thank you, everybody.
Alright, hide my game capture real quick so no one sees.
This is the first time I'm streaming Meccha Chameleon, so nobody judge my skills, okay? Actually, let me get the settings set up while we. Oh, no. There we go.
Stop tabbing. Oh my gosh.
I don't know why it's not coming up for me. This makes me sad.
Not showing up either.
Maybe let me try something really quickly. Try inviting. No. Let's see. Send everybody invites right quick off screen. Invite. Oh. Invite.
Yeah, I got a huge storm earlier. That was not fun.
No. Let's try the invite and let me know if that works. If not, maybe I am breaking something.
I clicked the invite, accepted it, but it didn't take me anywhere.
Same.
No. This is the worst.
I have no artistic ability, so this is good. This is always fun for me.
I tried the in-game invite system. Angelic, let me know.
Okay. Join.
Let me know. Let me know. That one worked. Okay.
Yay.
I need to. How? Not everybody's coming up on my friends list. Why? I'm looking. Oh, Beauty. There's Beauty. Got Beauty.
I got that one.
Am I offline? Hang on. No, I'm not offline.
Mina and I are just now friends, so it's possible that the friend list isn't updating. Maybe. Possibly.
Do I restart the game? Maybe? Do you think? Would that help?
Lux.
I'm wondering if I should do the same. Unfortunately, no. We just got. Oh, Lux is here. Okay.
Well, I just closed the game and I'm gonna restart it just in case, you know.
Okay. Yes.
Alright, I got Lux, so
Let's see. Game settings. Okay. We might be safe for now. I'll go back over to gameplay. Bum, bum, bum.
yeah, Kayla, now we're dressed as a TARDIS.
Wait, what? Really?
Yep.
We fully support this.
I need to pull up. Gosh, I need to pull up your stream and see what this looks like. Oh, yes.
In American films, like you can
I
shoot
love
someone
it.
in the head like 80 times,
I
and it's fine.
handmade both of
But I
them.
guess you can't show someone like
Oh.
smoking one piece.
How?
Of,
Okay,
piece
so
of
you
weed or
mentioned
something.
for my chat and anybody else who's not necessarily tuning into Beauty.
That's
Beauty
fine.
was.
Hey, look, I'm down with the kids. I know how drugs work.
Beauty was dressed up as No Face. Just
He's
moments
back
ago.
there
and you-
still.
So you mentioned you've had this costume for a while and you made it by yourself?
Yeah,
Yeah?
No Face was made in 2014, and I made him entirely by hand. He's basically a PVC backpack with an insulation foam face that I also put spackle on to reinforce him, and then painted and added fabric to. The gloves I bought, the Tabi socks, which I'm still wearing, I bought. And normally I hand out Rolos as the gold.
Oh, right. If you didn't know, I love No Face. Literally, No Face is behind me right now as we speak, and on my arm.
There's a
Now,
little itty bitty No Face behind him too, on my shelf.
Doctor Who. That's that's a fandom I'm not super familiar with, but my partner loves Doctor Who, so it must be good, right? That has to be good.
I am not
it's
up
been-
to date on it, but
Okay.
yes, I also
Okay.
enjoy Doctor Who.
Yes. Okay. It's
So
been out for like
this-
10. It's been showing for 10 years now, or maybe longer.
way longer. There was actually episodes back in like the 70s, I think.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
I see. Go
10
ahead,
years is
sorry.
the reboot. Yeah, 10 years is the reboot, as Johnny
Ooh.
said. Which I've only watched the
That's-
reboot. I haven't watched the older episodes.
I have very limited knowledge on Doctor Who, but everything I've seen, it's typically my friends saying it's a great. You need to watch it. You need to watch it.
Yes. There will be basically one episode somewhere in the line that just hooks you. For me, it was later in the line, and then I had to start from the beginning. So my family started watching it, and I was just like, I don't understand the hype. And then there was one episode called, I think it's like the Dalek Prison or something like that, where there was a girl named Clara in it going eggs over and over again. And I was like, I'm intrigued, and I don't know why that hooked me, but that hooked me.
Hey, sometimes it's that simple. It's that simple.
And now my kid's named Clara.
So I sent Mina another invite. Mina, any luck?
That just opened again to the main menu. It's not letting me actually in.
Okay. How did we do this last time? Beauty and Lux were there. How did we get someone Is it possible that my lobby is possibly not open? Let's see. No.
Let me try, because I got Lux in. Let me try adding Nina on Steam and inviting.
I can try one more lobby if you want me to, or someone else can host as well. Possibly. And we need to get Kat in here as well. If Kat is ready, not sure.
I accepted the invite or the friend invite.
Okay.
Now let's see what happens. Okay, let's see. Let me in. Let me in.
We just want to play your game. Come on. Please.
Nope, nothing happened.
Ah, okay. I'm going to try to reopen my game. Create a server.
So wild.
And then we can see what happens.
Okay.
They just knew we would be too strong if all of us got together in the same, lobby. They just wouldn't be ready for us, I think.
That's
honestly.
definitely gotta be it.
Okay, let's try this one more time. Okay. Let's try. All right. We're gonna fix this.
We're gonna figure it
They're
out.
gonna have to let us in. Okay. New lobby name, but same password.
Okay.
And I will try to invite.
It shows this time.
It
Perfect.
does?
It
Oh
shows
my.
for me.
Yay! I found it too.
Okay.
And
No. Okay.
is it a private server or a public server?
A private.
Private. Okay. Hold on.
Forgot how to walk in here for a minute.
There we go.
I can also invite you now.
Wait, join.
Yes. Oh my god.
It worked.
That worked.
We did it. We did it. It
We
gotta
just figured out
reset.
Blue's Clues.
Oh yeah.
Literally. Okay.
I've never
All
watched
right.
Firefly or Stranger Things.
Oh, really? No
Yeah.
Stranger Things? Not even one episode?
I've seen one episode because somebody made me, but but it was like the last season, and I was like, I don't know anything that's happening right now.
Oh no.
You're like, right. So there's the upside down and yeah, okay, we've got powers. What's going on?
There's Jimmy Campbell Bower, so he's hot, and that's about it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Literally. Okay, do we have a preference on? Is there a new game mode? Reverse chicken race.
Oh, that one's wild. You
What is that
basically
one?
have very limited time painting. Once the timer runs out, you don't get any extra time like you would normally. And
Yeah.
people see what you're painted as first and then hunt you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting. We might have to start off basic and go make our way up there.
It was a fun time.
So with increasing tag or basic, like, do we have a preference? Maybe we start with basic since there's what, 6 of us? If I do my math right.
Yeah,
6
might
of
be
us.
better.
Okay.
There's 6 of us?
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Perfect. Okay.
It's been a
Hunter.
long day.
Literally though. I'll do like 2 minutes of hiding. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like I don't know. We could do 300 seconds of finding?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I would say
Yeah,
so.
maybe.
I think that works.
Okay.
I think it works.
I think that's
I'm
what we were
going to-
doing before.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'll do 60-second forced taunt as well. Okay. Da-da-da.
I'm still salty with Johnny right now.
You're nicer than me. I
What
did
did-
30.
What did Johnny do?
He
Johnny.
literally hid in a frame, wrote on himself, "Please don't shoot me."
Oh,
He got to
And then-
17,000 points, and I got killed first, and I don't
No.
understand.
It was hilarious. Stunty could not find him.
I'm so salty. I'm still so
Wait.
salty.
I'm gonna go with the new model. I want to see what this looks like.
Oh, it's been fun.
There's
I've
a
been
new
enjoying
model?
it.
Yes, there's like a
Plump.
I'm just gonna chunky. Look at me.
They call it
yes.
plump. Yeah.
Oh my god,
Yes.
it's so cute! I'm not gonna lie, it kind of reminds me of like the Marshmallow Man from
Yeah.
Ghostbusters.
Pillsbury Doughboy or something.
Yeah, that.
Yes. Okay. Whew, it's been a while. Nobody judge my skills. Who's our hunter? Is it Cat? Yeah, okay. I was like, I think it might be Cat. Okay. You got this, Cat.
My first time playing it, so I'm gonna do my best.
You got this.
I got this.
Gosh. Especially because I haven't found a place to hide yet. I'm kind of panicking a little bit. It's okay.
But it'll be-
Thank you, Raiders. 1 second. I'm trying to rotate in my spot and I don't like it.
I thought I was going to bleed out just for a moment there.
That's
Right,
good,
who
it's
was
gonna
it? Who was it?
There's new poses as well? Oh, what in the
Welcome in,
world
Raiders.
is
I am Unwell Beauty. I'm a variety streamer. Today we are playing Meccha Chameleon with other streamers on the Dream Girl Summer Raid train. And
Oh.
I'm not in a good spot for any of this. If anyone needs to raid and run, please feel free. Post-stream care is super important, but I greatly appreciate
I'm laughing
you.
a little too much at my...
How was your stream today?
Oh gosh, how do I...
5 seconds.
Cat, please don't... No! I need to...
Alright, come on, wherever you are. It's on the right side. Oh, it's someone nearby here. Okay. I hear somebody on my right.
We're just gonna stay here for a second.
Nonsense.
Because I muted the in the Discord call. It's fine. But thank you so much for the raid. How are you?
Ooh. Someone's over here.
Nuh-uh. Nuh-uh.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. What?
And it looks so
Oh my
cool.
god. Okay, wait.
I don't know how
I can't remember how to make my paintbrush smaller. It's been so long.
Right click and then you drag it.
I needed that.
You're welcome.
I don't think anybody's in here. Okay, nobody's in here.
Oh no. Am I cooking or am I
Hi,
cooking?
Welcome in. How are you?
The answer is I'm not. Right. Oh. This is bad. This is really bad.
So bad. It's okay. We have her busy. It's fine. You got this.
You got this.
Shot so fast. Seriously.
My automata is very, very mad at share chat right now. I need to fix it.
It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Listen, Crockpot, I'm really
Okay.
bad at hunting, so I get it. Trust me.
Oh, I'm just bad at this game in general.
I've very much learned that I'm better when I'm sitting down, trying to, and not wearing gloves. Wearing gloves was awful.
Yes.
I'm just happy that I decided to say yellow and put on the PNG tuber because I still have that little smidgen of whipped cream in my hair.
Oh no!
Listen, there's until I do the full blown shower, there's gonna be the 4 in there.
This is as good as we're gonna get. This is as good as we're gonna get. It's fine.
Kiwi, did I cook with this or did I cook with this? I think I did.
Kayla, you
Holy crap.
cooked.
That is
Kayla, you
amazing.
cooked.
Kayla, that's freaking awesome.
I don't even know how to get there.
Yeah, how do I get there? Wait, pause.
I found it by
I didn't even know
accident
that
as
was a
well.
room.
I found it by accident as well, so.
That's the best
You're
type
not
of
allowed to leave yet. You gotta find me.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
I know. I was gonna say I'm gonna
Catch that
I'm gonna taunt
Pokemon.
a couple times.
Oh my gosh, how are we not dead? Help.
I don't know. I feel like if I keep whistling though, it's just gonna make her salty. So
Oh.
How do I go see
This
y'all?
is Kat's very
press
first
5.
time playing this.
Yeah.
Oh, 5, right.
and then you can
got
change through the mouse button. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't she looking amazing though? Like,
I don't even know. How? Oh, wow.
Wait, who? Wait, where?
Mina, I love yours too.
I need to see. Oh! Where are... Oh, Mina! Oh my gosh, that's so weird.
I panicked. I couldn't figure out the colors. I kept jumping in
Mina,
the air.
that's amazing.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
think it. Thank
that's what it
you.
was, Cat.
See if I can do this.
I kept whistling to get you over here.
Oh, the balloon. Okay, okay.
With Daddy, I was playing for 2 hours already before this. Before we joined up with everyone else. You could have
This game is so freaking hard. Oh my goodness.
It really is. I remember hunting the other day with Beauty and Lux. It was only 2 of them, and it took me the entire time, and I walked over top of them like 15 different times.
Was that when I was
It's tough.
Amazing.
Was that when I was
so
tuna?
tough.
I'm so bad.
Yes.
I find a corner and I just curl up in a ball.
I was so proud of that tuna. Like, I screenshot it and sent it to Johnny and was like, look at this.
That also was a really big map, I'm realizing. Like, that was really tough. We probably should have done a smaller interval for whistles. Listen, you know... Do we have a preference for the next one? We have sewer, back rooms, the indoor country.
Oh, I'm here for the fun times.
I'm sorry.
All right,
with
I'm just gonna
Daddy.
go. I'm gonna go down the list.
Get some rest. I did I think random because I was like, I don't feel like making choices.
That's fair. I should have probably done that. If you do random, does it go through your modded maps though as well?
No, unfortunately.
Okay.
Ooh.
Look at us, little chunkies.
I'm the hunter.
Right. The audio sounds kind of quiet. Let me try. Turn this up just a little bit more. Hopefully, Kiwi, let me know if that sounds better.
Now I feel like I just want to call myself Little Chunky every time.
Little Chunky.
Try to. We will probably.
No, sweetheart. I love you.
Who's the hunter this time?
I am.
Oh.
Don't worry, I'm not gonna be able to find anybody either.
Oh. Now, when would you use this pose? I have to ask. There's a couple poses you're like,
oh, I know exactly which one you mean, without even having to see it. We asked that question too.
Oh, okay. Okay, let's see. Oh, no. Some of these are wild. Wait, okay. This one. I'm sorry. I like to talk to myself, I guess, when I play this game, apparently. So
That's
if
quite
I'm
alright.
distracting anybody, let me know.
You do you.
I tried to paint myself. It was so bad.
Oh god, why it's so horrible.
Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god.
I may not have done well on this one.
Johnny said that's the I might be playing the
I feel
wrong
like you
game
all
emote.
will do well. Oh, I'm so sorry, Kat, but you were blinking.
Oh yeah, if you're blinking, it means you're too far into stuff.
You're too far in.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
That's right. Oh my gosh, I need to just stop messing with it. I'm making it worse. I'm making it worse.
Man, we got some really good ones. Y'all are amazing.
Oh god, the whistles. The whistles.
I tried this time.
I like it.
Okay. Just stop moving.
I just got stuck.
Hi, Sam, excited. I'm good. How are you? We're having fun.
Struggling.
Kiwi, thank you for the $20 donation.
Woo!
By the way, not to distract Angelic from their
dear God.
search here, but oh no!
failed.
Time to have a nice fun time in my
I'm so sorry.
Oh no! That's okay. That's okay. It gives me a chance to say thank you for the $20 donation, and I have to do a tattoo on my face. So
nice.
And thanks to everybody being here and helping us fundraise for 1DF today. Yay!
I don't even know if I'm like half in all of this.
Who's this? Oh, that's a good spot. Wait, where's Lux?
Listen.
I love
sometimes, you know, you just can't suck it in. It's fine. Like,
Who am I? Oh, okay. Mina's spot is good. This is tough. This is tough.
Oh, I came into this knowing, like, I was like, I'm not finding anybody.
There's some really, really good ones here.
I've been trying to figure out how to crouch this whole time.
Oh yeah.
Meccha Chameleon has been so much fun. We've literally been playing it since 6. First with my community, now with the Dream Girl Summer community, and we're already having a blast. When people whistle, that's called taunting. That's giving a hint to the location. Or being really annoying, depending on how you play it. Some of us like to be really annoying. Depends on who you're playing with as well.
I'm seeing something about a poop accident.
My dog was barking a lot right now. I'm mad at him because he had a poop accident. So
no.
yeah,
No.
yeah,
Not the poop accident.
yep. So
Poor doggy.
we love him, but also I swear sometimes he does it on purpose.
Aw. That's hey, you know, my cat, he goes into the bathroom at night and he'll just meow. I think because he likes to hear his own voice. Like
That's
that's
actually kind of cute.
I mean, that's very cat.
Okay. Tattoos on. Oh,
What was the tattoo?
Hearts across the nose, but I did it very lopsided, very bad.
Aww.
That's okay.
Beauty,
You know
that
what?
spot was insane. Oh my gosh.
Mina, really?
I love my spot.
That's such a good one.
artistic attempts.
I love it.
You did awesome. Oh. All right, switch back over. Let's do it again. I will put it on random so that it will choose for us. Oh.
The downside is you don't know what map it is until...
That's true.
Yeah. No problem, Johnny.
So
A ver.
Oh, good job.
Oh, I'm the hunter.
Oh, penguins.
Interesting.
I don't like this map. Salty.
This is the one where Johnny was hiding in plain sight and she still got the hit first.
So salty. Do you think I should try my spot again?
I would. Your spot was good.
Nope. That spot is not great. Sorry, I'm talking about my spot, not your spot. Oh my gosh, I don't even know this map. I don't know where to go.
I'm gonna try to do a Dream Girl Summer. Let's see. Dream Girl Summer. Little Forge. Let's see. Forge. Oh, only 50 seconds already? Oh my gosh. Ah, I'm failing. Okay. Got this. C.
There we go.
D. S. Yeah. Good enough.
Oh my god, Beauty. That is amazing.
I'll never know.
I'm scared. I don't like being hunter. It's too much pressure.
You
I
got
actually
this.
don't mind it, but I'm also like, I know I'm bad at it.
I feel like everyone's bad at Hunter, though.
Oh. I like walked through the balloons and it made a weird noise. Okay. Okay. If I was Beauty, where would I be? Where would I be? Oh, Linda with a donation. Thank you. I've got to lock in Linda.
I like your dream girl summer look.
It's horrible, but you know, it's okay. Hi, Linda. Thank you so much for the donation. I'm nervous. I'm nervous to be the hunter. Oh,
I like this.
okay. Oh, I think I saw somebody flash. Just a warning. You might have went through a wall. Nothing's looking suspicious.
Oh my god, Kat, I love
You got me. See?
That was really bad. That I got lucky with the timing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got betrayed by the whistle.
The whistle. The whistle.
God, I'm loving that.
I kind of like that.
Gorgeous.
Okay. Oh. Oh. I heard 3 whistles over here.
I love this so much. I really do.
I'm putting my serious face on. Wait.
Your serious face, that's cute. I love that. The focus face.
Yeah, anybody play games and like they like bob and weave their head like when they're playing? That's me. That is.
Oh yeah, I've done that.
I do. Like if I have to like if I'm having trouble in a game, I do the serious gamer like lean forward.
Yes. Yep. I heard
my husband
whistling
picks
over
on me
here.
for it.
I will say the other thing I do, which I don't mean to do, is if I'm in game looking under something, I then try to look under it in real life too, and I'm like, that's not how that works.
100%. Yep.
I was kind of staring at you. I thought you were
like, is
balloon.
she staring at me?
No, I thought you were balloon. That was such a good spot. Okay, I heard somebody else over here, I thought. Okay. You know what? Oh!
It's my own stream I'm hearing. Okay.
Is somebody able... God!
No!
I'm getting
love this map for all the balloons.
Yes.
Yep.
Very, very birthday coded, you know?
Kat, you're in
It
such
is
a good
perfect.
spot. I don't think you're gonna get found this time.
I don't think so either. It's a better spot than I
keep
had.
hearing whistles as I'm like walking by people. I'm getting really, really lucky.
I don't know what you're
I
talking
really
about.
like Kat's spot.
I hear somebody over here.
Nonsense. You hear nothing over here. This is
Are you in here?
These are not the droids you're looking for.
Are you in here?
These are not the penguins you're looking for.
Are you in the balloons?
What nonsense.
Wow.
Balloons. I don't know what you're talking about.
Ah, Cat, I don't think I'm I'm running. Where are you? I kind of want this stuffed penguin.
Congrats
so
on getting
cute.
second, Johnny.
They're so cute.
Right? The penguins are adorable.
Dang.
Oh wow! Wow! Wow!
I found it last second. Oh my god. I really didn't think I was gonna find Cat. Oh, those are fun.
I love
liked
Cat's
those.
hiding
Totally
spot.
is.
Me
Yeah,
too.
that was so good.
It was good. Oh, GG. Yes,
So
GG.
good, GG.
How in the frick did you find cutie. What? That was such. Oh my gosh.
And I was the
I-
first one.
I'm telling you, the whistle did it.
The whistle.
Mm.
Right
Oh
as
my
you
goodness.
walked by. Thank you for the hydrate, Johnny.
During that match, Linda donated $100. Thank you, Linda.
W.
I did not see the amount. I'm so sorry if I missed you, Linda. I appreciate you so much. And I miss you. I miss you, Linda.
Aw.
Linda's doing big job things, so I'm happy for you. But we miss you for sure. Okay, so I have to do another tattoo here, but I can get the next game started if everyone's ready.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I will put Linda's name on the donation wall. All right. Let's see.
I just keep consistently choosing the plump body just because it's fun.
Linda, my tattoos are pride themed, so how does this look to you?
Heck yeah.
I'll put a here, or here. Or
Who's the hunter?
I also have this.
Not it.
Okay, do this one. Okay.
Not me.
It's me.
It's Cat?
Me again.
Oh, Cat! They said, you know what? It's your first time. We're making you a
It's time
pro
for
hunter.
everything. I'm popping the Mecca cherry tonight, so.
Listen, I tried to be hunter before I joined over with you guys, and it told me no.
Ah.
I was really salty about it.
They said, Beauty, you're just too strong, too powerful. And Cat is evenly balanced.
Hi, Bud. How are you? Thank you for the alert.
I'm throwing my game right now by putting my tattoo on, but it's for good reason. There we go. Yay! Okay. Let me quickly find a spot. Oh my gosh. Are you slower when you're the larger models, by the way?
I can't
It feels
tell.
like I'm so slow.
I don't know. It didn't feel like it, but
Or maybe it's just because I'm just so giant. Okay, let's see. Oh. Let's try this.
I'm just trying it. It's so bad, but I'm trying it.
That's all that matters.
I don't believe as much. I believe in everybody else but me. I was not an art teacher.
It would be really cool to be an art teacher.
It would just be cool to be any type of artistic ability.
True.
I can color really well, though.
Oh no!
I like.
Yay, I finally got one. Okay, mission accomplished.
Oh, let's get
I just
Linda.
wanted to get at least somebody today.
No, you did amazing.
You did awesome.
Linda.
Okay.
Yeah.
This map is making me hungry, though.
I know, right?
I just had a rainbow cookie before.
Oh, rainbow cookies.
My partner and I got the cake just in case I reach my $250 goal.
Cake in
I
the
do have to smash the cake into my face, but it smelled and looked delicious. So I have to say, you know. Put Linda here.
Somebody's over here, I swear.
Yes, I am.
Somebody's over here! Where are you? Where?
You've gotten so close. The thing is you gotta climb.
That's what I was trying to do. Okay, hold
I
on.
fail at climbing so much in this game.
I have faith in you. You got this, cat.
You can do it, cat.
You're right.
Okay, hi, I'm.
Does it whistle by itself too, or do you have to hit one?
Hi.
There's force taunt on.
Bye!
See, I told you I had faith in you.
Bum bum bum. Bum 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 bum. Let's see where everyone else is. Oh, that's a good one.
Betrayed by the whistle again.
Just two more. Just two more. You got this.
Okay.
Right, Johnny, I really liked mine.
This over here.
That chocolate fountain right there, that looks really good. Like, just saying.
With all the marshmallows around it.
Yes.
Wait. There we go. See it? Woo!
No! I worked so hard on that backstory.
You gave it away with the strawberry. With the frosting around it.
Amazing. With that texture.
You gave it away.
No!
That did look really
Well,
good too.
That was a good spot though, I swear.
Put your shirt, put your nightgown on backwards, you silly goose.
I'm watching you climb and I'm like kind of jealous because I'm so bad at climbing in this game.
Oh wait, where did? Oh.
This is so much fun. We gotta do this every raid train.
Listen, you know, hey, I'm thinking about the Minecraft server. I don't know about y'all, but that was so much fun.
That
Was it
was
not?
amazing.
I loved it.
I made a giant sack.
I'm starting to get that itch for Minecraft again.
I've never played Minecraft.
Oh, I need to like
so close.
God
So
dang it.
close.
So close.
I kept whistling, thinking you were gonna see it.
Oh my god, Kayla, you're just so cute.
Well, I even thought it was gonna work.
Johnny said
Hey,
he
I
would
did
join
like
for
2
the
more
next one to be on the
seconds.
server.
Yeah. Oh. Wait. Oh, I see. OMG, Kayla, I would join for next one to be on the server. I say see. Hey, I mean, I'm down. I'm down for that. Okay, are we ready for another one? Anyone need to take a quick break or anything?
If I
I'm
can run
ready.
and grab a drink, I would appreciate it.
Please do. Please do.
Perfect.
I'm gonna mute up really quickly and chat about why we're here.
Johnny, your fucking messages crack me up. Oh my god. But yes, guys, we got 45 minutes before we raid over straight to Kayla. to celebrate her birthday in style, because you know fashion is the freight train. But yeah, we are still raising funds for 1000 Dreams Fund. I don't even know what we're at right now. We're at $100. That means we are $475 away from Johnny driving over and eyeing me in the face violently, because that's Johnny. If you guys are able to donate, please do !donate and donate. It's a great cause. They fund dreams for girls and women in STEM and e-gaming and broadcasting, and it's an incredible, incredible charity. I am so honored to be a part of their dream team. I really am. I'm having so much trouble telling whose chat is whose right now. Oh my gosh. Because my overlay does not tell me whose chat is whose. This is wild. Except for certain ones I can tell. Yeah, this game's a wild time.
90%. That's so much energy. That's so much energy. I have 548 energy.
Oh yeah, TARDIS. Yeah, it's a full TARDIS outfit. I got a bustle. I got a skirt. I got a corset. I got a little bolero thing. I got a necklace on right now. It's a moon with a TARDIS and a sonic screwdriver. Here, I'll do a twirl. I gotta unplug real quick. We started off as No Face, but No Face is really uncomfortable and warm. And I can't see when I'm wearing No Face fully. So I had to take No Face off. There's a crab brawler in chat. Catch that Pokemon. Part of the event. And this headset just keeps dying faster and faster.
Okay. Is everybody back just yet?
I'm still here.
You never left. Me either.
I didn't.
I was just deafened.
I'm just drinking out of my amazing Dream Girl Summer water bottle.
Oh my gosh.
I also never left.
I love that. I've been seeing. It looks really large. Like, at least from the photos I've seen. You know, I haven't seen it in person yet, but yeah, I was like, holy cow, that thing looks. If you need to, you could probably defend yourself with it. It looks heavy.
It came in and I was just like, this is a lot bigger than I realized it was gonna be, but I really love it.
That's awesome.
And I've gotten a lot of compliments from it. So I was like, I like this.
I love it.
I was asked to show off my TARDIS dress, so that's what I was doing.
Yes. Yes. Beauty, did you grab any Dream Girl Summer merch yet?
Not yet. I had to wait.
We gotta get it to you. Yes. We gotta get you some.
Yes. I have my eyes on a few pieces.
Hey, listen. If y'all donate to Beauty's campaign, we can get Beauty a bundle. By the way, I think it's what, $200 raised,
for
and you'll
shirt?
get merch.
The shirt.
Yep, 200 is the
Yes.
shirt, and then 500 is the bundle.
Yeah. That's right.
That's why I've
And
just been
then
shooting
on
for the
top-
575 so that everyone just pies me in the face too. It's fine.
Love that. I love that. And then on top of that, if you donate $25 towards your fundraiser of choice, that actually enters them into getting a all expense paid trip to DC later this year, which is really, really awesome. I'm really excited about that, and I might even be there, so that would be really cool. I'm just saying, to meet some of y'all. Let's get them to DC.
I mean, I'm on the East Coast. I might just drive down to DC just to drive down to DC at this point.
I'm in Ohio, so it's a little bit of a trek, but hey, you know what? Anybody not like flying?
You're closer to me.
Oh yeah? Wait, where are you?
Yeah.
Well, whatever information you'd like to share, where are you?
Not on stream, but I will message you later.
Okay, for sure. Yes.
But yeah, we're
Please.
not too terribly far. I've driven
Johnny!
through Ohio. So
Johnny,
Okay.
that message. That message. I can't.
Hi, Shadows of Ash.
wait, what when are you
Shadows
talking about,
of Ash
Wes?
said hi, 1DF friends.
Hi, Ash.
Hi,
Ash will be
Ash.
on the raid train tomorrow.
Yes.
Tomorrow.
She sent me a sneak peek of her cosplay. I'm so excited to see it when
Oh.
it's fully finished.
That's awesome. I'm excited to see it.
That's my
wait,
little
so
sis.
I still can't
I love
believe
it.
how heavy that tail was. I forgot how heavy that ray tail is.
Johnny said, wait, you'll pie beauty in DC? Wait, is Johnny East Coaster as well?
Yep.
Yep, he's East Coast.
He's Virginia.
Ooh. Okay, so everybody, we go to DC? Yeah? That's what I'm hearing.
Johnny's probably the closest to Virginia out of all of us.
Ooh.
Or to DC.
Only 50 minutes from DC.
Yep.
Johnny, we'll have to chat. I know Christy, so FYI, sorry, I'm kind of hijacking the conversation here, but 1DF is headquartered in DC. So Christy, our founder, lives in DC. Our office is there. I'm over here in Ohio. We have some teammates who are in California, all over the place. But if you are ever in the DC area and you'd like to visit the offices, please let me know. We can make that happen.
Can that go for all of us? Cause
yeah,
I might drive
anytime.
down now.
Yeah, I'm only like 4 hours from DC.
Yeah, I'm only a couple hours from DC.
Hey, like I said, this fall we're still confirming dates, but this fall we are getting folks together. This probably, I imagine, like October-ish. I know if folks are going to TwitchCon, that's in November, but around October, getting some of our ambassadors, some of our board members, and other folks together. So yeah, that would be super fun.
That would be so exciting.
I love that.
Oh, yes, 1DF dinner in DC. I'm down,
Yes.
Johnny. Please. Is Mina back by chance?
Although
Oh,
no,
thanks.
because
Not yet.
then I'll be pied in
Not
the
yet.
face. No.
Who?
I thought Mina was here the whole time.
Yeah, I've been here the whole time.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh!
no, I'm the one that ran away.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, you're
I thought.
What?
No, you're good.
Hi, Raven. Welcome.
My bad. My bad. That's
Yeah,
my
well,
bad.
nervous.
We were talking about milk and Colorado and
Oh. Oh my gosh. I'm getting hungry. Okay. I'm gonna start the round, or else.
Yeah, you guys were talking about cereal
Listen.
too. Saw cereal chat going. I was like, okay.
Let's do chunky body again.
I'm a little
We are
chunky.
continuing the fundraiser. We're at $370 out of our $500 goal right now, Raven.
Nice.
That is awesome.
That is awesome. Oh, I'm Hunter.
This is
Wow.
where
Oh, we're
we
back
turned
here,
off
okay.
random
Find a
because we got the
fail.
same like map 3 times.
Yeah,
It
that's
started-
true.
It
What
started
map is it?
favoring.
It's the
speech.
candy map again.
Oh, okay.
We got two back-to-backs here. Oh, okay. I have to do better this time. Let's see. Very
By the way,
serious.
Kayla, you said you're hijacking the conversation. I'm like, it's your birthday stream. You are allowed to hijack whatever you want.
Hey, I'm not the only one streaming though, you know.
This is true.
But I do appreciate everybody for being here. Thank you. We got like 2.5 hours till my birthday. I can't believe it.
You got this.
Hi, Amanda.
Fun fact, by the way, it's my partner's birthday as well. We have the same birthday.
Happy birthday, partner.
That is awesome.
So he'll probably be bringing in
Son
the
of a
cake.
nutcracker.
I
I haven't
don't
found my spot. I'm not
Me
waited.
either.
I fell like
say.
I quit.
That body in there.
Is it too early?
And then I can see the orange little arm,
and
I
like
think.
sound alerts and everything.
Man.
What is that? How fast can we overstimulate Angelic?
It was so bad. There were voices and a sound alert, like a walk-on sound, and then a sound alert, and everything just all at once, and my brain
no.
exploded.
No. Okay. Wait, who's
That's
okay?
not
So
the phone line,
Angelic.
that's a hit.
I'm
Shit.
Hunter.
Okay, everybody, keep distracting.
I squirrel very easily, so you guys can distract me. It will happen.
Oh.
I got so distracted I forgot to paint myself. Oh, I got stuck.
That's you, big guy.
I don't want to do it. I feel bad. I don't want to do it. I feel bad. I'm gonna walk away for a minute. I'll come back. I'm stuck.
You did not see me flashing. You did not see me flashing.
I actually don't think I did.
Okay, good.
I was so focused because I found somebody and then I felt bad because I was like, it feels like it's too early.
Listen, I was the first one last time. I didn't have a very good gingerbread man at all. It's fine. Here we go. Oh my god, no. I keep like getting.
Oh god. Very simple but effective. You're right, Raven.
I'm gonna leave it. I'm just gonna leave it. No.
I'm gonna watch them figure out how to.
I'm trying so hard to jump and not get stuck. Oh shoot, that was actually somebody.
But
Sorry, Kayla.
they're flaming me in the chat. They said
No,
not
I'm not even looking at chat, so.
They said not the poop drop.
Oh, I'm not gonna lie, would not even have noticed it. Yeah, no, I wasn't looking at chat at all.
No,
I
you're good.
swear.
My sister and Bano were like, the poop drop? Come on now.
No, cat.
I'm sorry, cat. Those are gonna be the only two people I find, I promise.
No.
Never mind.
Oh.
Those are gonna be the only three I find, I promise.
Who's left? Okay, we've got Mina.
Mina's always. I can never find Mina.
Oh,
when
this is good.
Like the 2 times I've been Hunter. This is the second time, but still.
The texturing. I'm liking this. I don't want to say who, but you know, I like this texturing. Yeah.
I was gonna say, if we're not getting harassed by our siblings, what,
Truly a
what is
birthday gift.
having siblings?
Wait, fair. I did make my sibling lose her glasses so many times on stream.
Siblings,
Yeah.
they're funny, aren't they? Oh gosh, gotta love them. Can't live with them. Can't live without them.
I don't know what you're
I feel
talking
like
about,
the next time
Johnny.
the thing that everybody should do
Johnny wants to
when
throw
I'm
hands.
Hunter is go up high because I cannot climb to save my life.
Oh.
Jackie.
Mina,
This
that
music.
makes me think you're somewhere near where I just shot.
Oh,
I doubt it, but you said "oh" like that.
Oh,
Oh.
Mustard in the library.
We're gonna have to start. You're getting warmer. You're getting colder.
Beauty is with Mr.
There we
Mustard
go.
in the library with a candlestick.
Yep.
I actually do have a candlestick like right behind me. Or right behind you guys.
These are some tough spots, I gotta be honest.
But see, that makes it interesting.
Beauty's got 47 upvotes. I wonder why. Too skilled.
You should see me on the Bob Ross one.
Wait, Bob Ross?
It's one of the modded maps.
Oh, ooh, gotta check it out.
I really was enjoying the Majora's Mask one. That one was cool.
You know, the clock tower.
Beauty! Oh my
That's
gosh!
rare, Mina. Okay.
Lux, I love your little sprinkles. Lux, it's so cute.
I tried
Oh my
so hard.
gosh! That is so cute!
So cute.
You really did look like a little poop on there. Thank you.
I tried. I couldn't find everybody.
All right, I will take it off of random. Let's get a new one. Back rooms, indoor country. Soccer. Okay, let's do back rooms. Yeah.
That one is fun.
Does anyone have community members that they'd like to invite by chance? Or would be down? We could always try to oh, I'm Hunter, no. The other game mode.
Scared. I thought I was Hunter for a minute. I got scared.
Wait a second, someone's sitting up in this chair? What in the world is that about?
Johnny is interested. Johnny is also addicted to this game.
It's so much fun.
It really is.
Okay, let me try.
This map, I get so turned around on this map on a good day.
Hang on. Kayla, you're the one hunting, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Oh no, I'm scared.
No. We're gonna play with your memory. It's fine.
Oh no. You said memory? You mean the lack thereof? That's
exactly. I got you.
Oh gosh, you're repeating the place. No. Let's see. I'm going for Naruto.
You got
any Naruto fans in the chat?
Massively. I have a Sand Ninja headband hanging up like not that far away, and I have Kakashi's Anbu Black Ops mask.
I love that. Who's your favorite character?
Ooh, probably Shikamaru.
Oh, that's solid. I like Rock Lee. Rock Lee's my fave.
Amazing.
Ooh, okay. Oh no! Wrong color. So I'm going for Naruto. It's not going well, but if you're a true fan, you'll get it, you know?
You are close.
I support this.
It looks so bad. It's fine, okay. Alright.
It's okay.
Back rooms. Who all saw the Back Rooms movie?
Not yet. I want to though.
Okay.
I saw it!
Okay, so no spoilers for Beauty, but it was amazing. I thought it was great.
Ooh, I did not like it.
I messed
Really?
up, and apparently
Yeah.
there's a out there that's not painted.
Mina, are you like a big Backrooms fan and you're just like, it wasn't that great? Or
So this is like the funniest part, right? Like I went with my brother. So my brother loves the back rooms and he's always been like super into the lore and everything. And I don't know anything about the back rooms. And we both left the movie not liking it.
Oh no.
But I do know a lot of people liked it. It's just like it wasn't for us, you know?
Understandable. No,
Yeah.
not everything's gonna be for you. It's totally okay to not like something. Yeah, I'm not the type of person who's like, I know everything about the back rooms. I know very like limited knowledge. about it. Well, now I've played one of the like Escape the Backrooms games with my sister, so now I know a little bit more. But I can understand why someone might not like it. For me, I was like, "Ooh, this is giving me like what's gonna happen." It was like a slow burn without spoiling anything for Beauty, but
I agree.
okay,
It was
who's
definitely a
whistling?
slow burn.
I know that's Lux. Actually, I don't need to ask. It's Lux. Oh.
Oh.
Found someone.
It's not where I wanted to hide, but I was like, we're just gonna go there.
Come on, Kayla.
Hey, stop!
Oh.
No! I found somebody.
Oh no, cat!
I like didn't hesitate. I saw a little tiny chunky body, and I was like, all right, I'm shooting. Lux. Okay, that's it. That's it. I'm coming over there. I know you were somewhere like in this. That's it.
She left me again, guys.
Because I started
Well, someone
whistling.
else is over here. Yeah, they're banded against me. This is not fair. It's my birthday.
Oh my god, I love that. It's my birthday.
Oh, okay. Where the heck are you? I hear you in here. Beauty is... Wow. Holy cow. Look at that.
Isn't that an insane spot? Oh my gosh.
That is good. That's it. I'm just gonna start blasting. I remember you... Who's last? It's Mina. It's Mina.
No, nobody's here. Nobody's here. You already found me.
Oh my god. Oh my god, I can't. Oh.
That was
was
the
good.
most unfortunate whistle.
I got lucky. What can I say?
Ay,
Those are good. Those were good. I love that. I hate being the hunter. It's too much pressure, and then I feel bad. And it's like, what? I can't do it.
When I'm hunter, I get distracted by around me.
That's true. That's true.
Johnny
Johnny,
said,
does that mean that you're joining?
yeah, he said if you're open to him joining, he said to give you a warning of the dumb stuff he does. Which is
Oh.
like, he makes himself cars and drives around maps.
Oh, that's perfectly fine with me. If you would like to share the name and password, we know and love Johnny over here. So, please.
I'll try and just invite him.
Yeah.
See if that works
my
first.
community's making fun of me.
No. Why?
Because I was like, everybody's gotta keep it like not more G-rated, and they're yelling at me that I'm not the perfect little angel that I'm saying that I am.
Yeah. No, yeah. Listen, everyone was banding against me that time. Yeah.
Yeah, Crockpot, that was only one map. They already patched out the exploit that was used, so that's not a thing anymore. It's safe.
Kayla, is it okay if my friend Keith joins?
Yeah, totally okay. As long as everyone else is okay with it.
Yeah. Johnny did the join. Oh, yep, Johnny's already Spider-Manning. That's another thing he does.
You know what? Wait, yeah. Cat's onto something. Let me check out these new like poses. Like, what is this one?
I still got like
what's this about? Wait. What about this one? What about this one? Now, I think we all know this one.
Why
I
did it
think
look like you were like in pain?
I like this one. It's
Like-
the gotta go pee.
Gotta go pee. Wait. Oh, wrong one. What? This one's interesting. Yeah. This one's kind of giving
What
like.
is this pose? What in the world?
I
feel like a human pretzel.
I really don't know
Oh,
why.
and I'm so confused by it.
I'm laughing over here, choking from laughing. By the way, if you didn't know, for anybody who's kind of newer to the game, if you hit Q, you can duplicate yourself, by the way.
I learned that last game.
Up to 3 times. Up to 3 times.
Oh!
We're just leaving little mini-me's everywhere around the map. Alright. We've got Keith and we've got Johnny in here. Are we ready to go?
I'm ready.
What?
I'm ready.
Who built this?
Hi.
Alright. Let's go to indoor country. And would we like to change it up so that it's in the increasing tag? Or what do you think?
Oh, yeah, 51 likes.
I know. Yeah, that works.
I was impressed by your likes as well. Okay. We can do...
51.
Finish brushing your teeth.
Maybe we do a little bit of a longer hiding time for this.
Sure.
And then let me just double check. 60 seconds. Ooh. We can do... I guess we'll do 60.
Oh, we're doing increasing tag, yay.
Yes. All right, here we go. Boom.
Even though
boom.
I'm still really bad at being it, I'm excited now.
Brush your teeth.
No! It's me again! It's my birthday!
Oh, no.
Ah!
No!
I'm already stuck. How am I stuck?
Brush your cheeses in your tongue, okay?
I have to think of what to paint myself now. What do I do?
I feel like so.
Oh.
No, that's not. Definitely. Oh God.
Okay. I'm going Simpsons mode.
Yellow.
Yo. Okay.
Listen, I fell
Oh.
from my spot. I'm just gonna make it work.
Wait, this is more purple than blue. That's not what I want. I need blue. How are people so creative where they're like... You're getting like stick figures out of me. That's it. I can't do anything better.
I understand.
Depends on my mood.
Oh, that's adorable, Kayla.
Can't I?
Oh my
Hi.
God, it's so cute.
Perfect.
I put very little effort in where I'm hiding right now.
See, and if you donated $10 right now to my campaign, you could get a bad Microsoft Paint just like this.
I love it. Oh my god. I don't think this is bad.
This is a
I
sneak
think
preview.
love it, Kayla.
Oh my gosh. I adore that.
I like the high.
Thank you. Hi! Exclamation mark.
You should write "bye" on the back.
Ah! I don't have a.
Oh no!
What is happening, Kayla?
I don't know. I tried to say bye. It didn't work. Okay. Whoa! You can go into third person by right clicking? How interesting. Alright. I feel something feels suspicious over here already.
Dun, dun, dun.
And I don't like it.
Oh my god, there's no.
You're probably right.
Someone in here? Someone in here?
Oh, I didn't even think about hiding in there.
If anyone's
The
wondering,
gnomes
I'm really
are so
good.
cute.
I love the gnomes.
If anyone's wondering, I'm really good at hide and seek in real life too. But it helps that I'm the size of a 10-year-old, so.
People
that
are
was a lot of
whistling.
whistles all at once. Hi.
Oh,
You should
the
just leave
whistles.
me. I fell here.
So many whistles. Okay, so there's someone else over here. I know I heard. Where are ya? All right, I have to get somebody. All right,
yeah,
let me
yeah, you can get me now. I'm just like, we gotta die. Oh, cool.
help me.
All right.
Help me, Lux. Help me.
All right. Knowing Johnny and his shenanigans, because I think that was who it was.
There's a wild Galarian wheezing in chat. It's part of the event. Catch that Pokemon.
I knew I was waiting for it, Kayla.
I just needed to tap you in to help, you know?
Where are
Wrong
you?
person to tap into. Tap in.
No, you got this. Oh. Somebody's in these clouds. I know it's one of these clouds. Oh.
Thank you, Johnny.
Uh-huh, Johnny.
Somebody over here in this hay bale. No. What? Somebody's nearby.
Keith doesn't own that ball.
Ooh. You hide behind here, technically? I think you can. Oh. Only 3 more left. Somebody's here and they're playing with my emotions. Wait. Wait! I think I see you in there. I just can't get up there because I'm not skilled. I gotcha!
You got me!
I should have known it was you, Beauty.
Also, yes, you can hide behind the rain curtain. I have done that before.
I didn't realize. Yeah, I was like, I thought it was attached to the wall. Part of the wall, I should say.
Thank you for the follow.
2
Welcome to the
more.
Outro Army. Our follows are anonymous. Feel free to chat or lurk, whichever you prefer. We're just happy to have you here.
Oh! We found
One
Mina.
more.
Aww.
Oh.
No.
What? I'm stuck crouching. It won't let me out of crouch. Help!
Okay, we are missing
Mine is
one
moving
person.
by myself. Like, I'm not even moving myself, but it's just moving me around.
I'm stuck in the couch. Oh, there we go. Finally.
Yeah, try. Sometimes you have to try running, and it's just like, oh, okay.
I heard somebody over here, I thought.
Dang, Keith.
I know, I'm like, where?
Well, someone looked at Keith. Someone did.
Where are you?
Where are you? And I'm so sorry.
What?
Hold on, where was he?
What? I looked at these carrots like 6 times.
Wow.
Okay.
That's good.
Oh. I should have increased the time. I want to know where everybody was. That was a good round.
That was.
Okay, please don't make me Hunter again. Please. I'd appreciate it. Please don't make me Hunter. Oh my gosh.
Hi, Johnny. Yes, Johnny. Can I help you, Johnny? You want to be Hunter, Johnny? Okay.
I'm going to give our answer check time a little bit more time so we can.
Oh god, the violent head nods.
Okay.
The sign is breaking. Like
one more round and then I'll raid into you.
Yeah! Woohoo!
Woo! For the Dream Girl Summer Raid Train.
This has been such a fun one
love the
too.
Dream Girl Summer.
It really has.
Okay.
Oof.
I can't do my sushi.
I hear everybody running around. I'm like, whoa.
Can't do my sushi again.
Let's see. Go. Ah. Actually, let me not say that. So Johnny's our hunter, I think.
Yep.
Oh no. He's gonna get me.
Maybe. He is a little blind.
But we love him for it though.
We do. Kind of.
Oof, I'm feeling uninspired. I think I chose the wrong body type for this. Something else would have been better. Alright, let's see.
Johnny!
Could I get away with this?
Oh my god, Johnny.
No. No. No.
Johnny, you missed a spot on your head. It's on the right-hand side.
Let me up. Okay, okay.
Oh my god, you are doing what I think you're doing.
No!
Oh my god, Johnny.
Okay, let's try this. This. Oh. No. That's bad. So bad. What was that noise? Oh, here we go. Okay, okay. I never said I was, an artiste.
I did not realize I could do a free movement camera, so now I'm just doing camera.
I know the only bad thing is you can't see what everybody else is.
Yeah, I noticed that one. it's okay. I normally
Johnny,
just
you're
watch
so
the hunter.
fabulous.
Okay, okay. Oh! Hit my Windows button instead of copying myself. Okay, that's...
He's a goofy goober.
No way! Oh!
Oh my god, so many people are over there. Oh my god. I'm
You
just
don't
seeing
see me.
everybody's names showing up. Like, oh damn.
I need something, I need something.
I didn't even
No!
realize you were there. I just found a good hiding spot.
I don't know how I'm kind of getting away with this right now, but just know...
Interesting.
No!
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Where are y'all?
Bum, 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 bum.
Hopefully hiding.
Actually. Bum, 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 bum.
This is amazing.
4 more people. Okay.
Wait.
Oh my god, this happened time. I feel it in my soul right now.
I get so like panicked.
I'm watching the tumbleweeds all collect in one spot right now. They are wild.
That is a really good spot.
Keith got found.
Keith had a great spot. I was panicking a little while doing mine.
That was a
and
good spot too. Why am I feel like I'm through the map? What is happening? I can't get down.
Kat, is it just me and you? Are we who's left?
I think so.
There's 2 left, yep.
Oh my god. Stay strong, Kat, we got this.
Looking. I am perceiving.
And y'all haven't even been seen.
I don't know how I... Like...
Oh! Was that up here or was that behind me?
Yeah, the whistles, I literally will like, I hear them and then I'm like, that sounds like it's everywhere to me.
Yeah, yeah. It's behind me, but it's in front of me. But it's my left, but also my right.
It's all around me.
I feel like it was here.
Tumbleweed got stuck.
Under the table? In front of the cat? No. Have you all seen people who like band together to do like a big design of some kind?
What?
Yeah, very
Again,
funny.
Though, I don't feel like I'm talented enough to be a part of that.
Same. Okay.
Okay, I feel like somebody's over here.
Around here.
But at the same time, I could be completely wrong.
It sounded like it was right here. Wait, there's an alleyway right here? What? This is news to me. We might not find them.
Oh my god. Kat, did we do it? Did we do it?
Did you? I think you did.
Oh. Just right here. Okay, so that's it. So it's over here. So it's not back there. Oh!
Oh no!
He found one at the very end.
Where was Cat?
Oh my god.
Let's see.
All the way back this way.
Oh my
That
god!
is
I
amazing.
I saw you
literally-
27 times and I never
twice.
thought.
You literally passed her twice.
Have a good night,
No, I know. I literally, I saw it and I was like, yeah, that's nothing. Wow.
Oops.
I'm potato. I'm actually potato. Goodbye.
Same. Literally same. Ah, that was good. That was good.
All right, I
That was
am
so good.
gonna mute quick and do my outro. All right, I want to thank everybody for joining me today. You guys are amazing. We're gonna raid right on over to Hello Kayla. She is incredible. She is so much fun, and we're gonna celebrate her birthday. Thank you, Johnny, for getting the raid message.
Beauty, are you
Get the raid
hopping
message.
off? Maybe Beauty already hopped off.
And
I
he's doing the raid out.
I got a raid over to you.
Will you be continuing to play with us, or are you calling it quits there?
Oh, I'll continue playing.
Yes! Amazing. Well, then I guess if everyone we want to take a quick break, I'll be back in a moment. If that sounds good to everybody.
That works for me.
Cool.
Sounds
Cool.
good.
Yay.
All right, there we go. All right, I want to thank everyone for joining me today. Thank you again, Stunties, for the donation. Thank you guys for the raids. You guys have been absolutely amazing. I absolutely adore all of you. Thank you guys so much for the support for No Face and for the TARDIS. I really enjoy you guys. Let's go give Kayla some birthday love and support. You guys are amazing. Remember, stay kind, stay curious. Love you guys. Bye! I will be live next on Wednesday with more Ocarina of Time rando. Because y'all have entirely too many crowd control coins. And then I will also be live on Friday with some Detroit Become Human and Hades too. Love you guys. Bye!